me and Ryan have been officially welcomed to the jungle that is Barstool Sports.
Our white whale, Sidney Crosby.
Shave his head! Shave his head! Shave his head!
Ryan Whitney, Paul Bissonette, R.A., Mike Grinelli, Spittin Chiclets.
What is up, folks? Welcome to episode 538 of the Spittin Chiclets podcast, presented by Pink Whitney. What an amazing week we had in Chicago. Outdoor winter classic for the ages, and Pink Whitney was a big part of it, boys. We had our meet and greet at Sluggers, and the Pink Whitney was flowing. People were asking me, did you bring the big bottles? Did you bring the 1.75s? I said, no, I'm sorry, but I have 500 shots to give away. Yes, 50 shots on a tray. I gave away 10 trays.
Wow.
That adds up to 500.
What a guy.
And boys, were the people ready to drink it. They were loving it. And they were saying the whole time, this is the perfect drink before the cold, nasty weather we're about to go outside and deal with. But give me that Pink Whitney. Oh, when it hits your lips. So shout out Pink Whitney, shout out this podcast, and shout out the boys for crushing another winter classic. What is going on,
Holy fuck,
doing?
Whitty, high stepping out of the, what a read by you.
Well, I must say that Merle's kind of started this new thing for the boys that I love. I'm obsessed with it. It's such a minor thing, but he just now sends the group chat when everyone needs a little pick-me-up. Thunderstruck. That's probably a tough guitar right there. But when we play it now, Merz just played it for me before we started. I'm flying around. I'm buzzing. What a song.
It's crazy because lately I've been bumping a lot of AC/DC. Hell's Bells in the car gets me going too. The dum, like the slow intro, but the Thunderstruck, man. Like when you were a kid, lacing them up like 13, 14. We'd be in the hallway, look at the Welland Tigers. We're white, we're black, we're dynamite. You know, you guys ever do that?
Yeah, your mom is part black and your dad's white, so that works perfectly for you. Murr, you said you played it with the Bantams riding around the parking lot.
Yeah, when I was coaching the Rochester, I'd put it on there and I'd be ripping around the parking lot, and it's COVID, so the other teams are stuck sitting outside waiting to go in, and it was just intimidating them. And we have two big SUVs ripping around the lot. It was nuts. We go in and trash these teams.
I love it. I love it.
Well, Biz, actually, Jans is here as well. Jans, what'd you think of coming on the trip and being a part of the squad now? And just what was your kind of thoughts on Chicago?
It was great. I feel like a bag of shit right now after hanging with Merles for 3 days, but I need Thunderstruck every morning for the next couple days to get back to even here soon. But yeah, unreal trip. Obviously, you guys do it right, first class, everything. You know, I want to thank.
No, this is Biz's thing.
Yeah, let's go. Okay.
This is the thank.
This is the biggest.
No. I want to hear the thank yous. I was just getting Julia from Pink Whitney, Megan at Discovery, Sones. I can't wait. The only reason I'm excited to be here with you guys is to hear how many thank yous you give out today, Biz.
This is his number one episode for thank yous. Usually it's around 53 to 54. So, Biz, I don't know if you want to start it now or save it for
I would
later.
say we got to first start off by thanking the entire league and the people who work for the league for throwing on an incredible event. I love coming to these Winter Classics. And the fact that I'd never been to Fenway and never been to Wrigley, and the first two things that brought me to both those iconic venues is hockey, just remarkable. And I think we have to shout out the fans, not the ideal weather to show up to one of these outdoor games, given how cold it was and it was raining. But these fans come out in droves, and they fucking are loud. They stayed majority of the game, although the Blackhawks stunk the joint out, got booed off their own ice. Regardless, the fans, the league, incredible job. Going back to Merle's making you feel like a bag of shit, though, Jans, him and the Powers guys, the guys who do, what's the name of their podcast? Empty Netters. Unreal guys, absolute man missiles. They give out these business cards, and there's a saying that you guys have on the road. And what's the saying?
Tonight is the night, because one of the first trips where we'd run into these guys, I'm like, no, like tonight, we're not going out tonight. It's not the night. We got to pack it in easy.
Got to save it because we're older.
Yeah, I'm really old, and we got to record tomorrow. And somehow, like the Pink Whitney started flowing, and we ended up out all night. And And one of them said it like, I guess last night was the night.
Well, then you flip the back of the card over and it says, actually, tonight is the night.
Just it's a funny running joke. And last night was not the night, though. I took last night off.
So every time that one of the guys in the group is like, let's take tonight off and save it for tomorrow, they'll follow up with, nah, tonight's the night.
Tonight's the
and
night.
that's
We
how
go
you
all
get
in.
roped into these 3-4 day benders, Yan. So welcome to the Whack Pack.
Yeah, and then I'm on the plane coming back, and I'm like, oh my God, I just can't wait to get to bed tonight. And then I'd look at my phone, and in the calendar is New Year's Eve party, black tie event. I'm like, oh my God. So I had to get home and get ready and go to a black tie event.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's nightmare fuel right there.
That's why you have sunglasses on and look like you're in the witness protection program.
Yeah, exactly.
I got to just enjoy the U.S. kicking the shit out of Canada in Ottawa on New Year's Eve. Just a gift to get to sit and watch that. What a pathetic, undisciplined performance by Canada. We can get into that later. The Trip Boys, huge success. Had a blast. I love Chicago. And every time I go there, the people say, hey, that clip you made. Like 10 years ago, I went on Barstool Chicago, talked about the city. And sometimes it occasionally makes the rounds on like Instagram or TikTok of me just talking about it. It hasn't changed. I love the place. It's got
ridiculous.
everything you want. Great food, awesome. We had one day that was beautiful. The day before the Winter Classic was the perfect winter day. I wish the game had been on that day. But I think that our live show, we got to talk about that. Shout out all the people who came out, and what a surprise they got. Because we do have some thank yous. We had Chelios show up. We had Roenick show up. We had Tim Stapleton show up talking about the Russian gas. We had Glenn Healy come. But 99,
Unreal.
the man, the myth, the legend himself, he showed up. And Biz, how about the crowd? Loud crowds at our live show when he spoke and showed up.
You could hear a pin
drop.
You could hear a pin drop, the respect they were showing for him. And it was funny seeing the fans in the front row's reactions to when he walked out. It's like they saw Jesus Christ. And it was great with Yans because he ended up showing maybe up a little bit earlier than expected. So we just brought Yans out, and Yans like, I'm not sitting here talking with the great one waiting on deck. So Yans is like, bring out my buddy. And then he walked out and got the unreal pop. And what a treat for all those fans who showed up. And going back to Glenn Healy, like he really helped solidify getting Chris Chelios and Jeremy Roenick to come over because we're trying to do more in collaboration with the alumni and bring more awareness to it. So I thought it was awesome just to get all those guys, especially in a city like Chicago where Chelios and Roenick made such an impact. And how about the gifts that I've been showered with by the Gretzky family?
Buddy.
How about this bomber, which I have never asked Wayne Gretzky for an autograph. And when I saw him at the House of Blues the next night when Chelios, Roenick, and all those guys were throwing that charity event for the alumni, he ended up grabbing the Sharpie and just signing my jacket underneath the 99. So they gave me this unbelievable bomber from Gretzky's basement, all that merch stuff they do with Ty, Trevor, and Tristan. So he signed it. I've never asked him for an autograph, but he did it willingly. And then he gifted me on stage a stick. So you were right. When I asked him, I said, you used in your last season playing with the Rangers, the ultralight 2-piece. But I guess because he'd bought in Hespler, his last game in Canada, which was in Ottawa, he ended up using like 8 or 9 sticks, he said, throughout the course of the game. 8 sticks. And he gave me the last stick he used in that game. I am going to hang it above where I record back home because I have that. I'll have that one now. I don't think I'm going to get that signed and leave it authentic, but I also now have the Gretzky aluminum, the exact same one that I got when I was a kid. So I'll put those pictures up, and that'll be my backdrop from now on. So I can't thank Wayno enough for not only showing up, but showering me with gifts from him and his family. Like, I love the Gretzkys. They've done so much for us, and it's I'm over the moon. So that's only one thank you. We still got a lot to get to.
By hang up, you mean sell it. Like, there's no that thing's gonna be on eBay. You're gonna list it at $30,000, and then you're just gonna buy a couple new plants for your new backyard when you sell the Gretzky.
I'm gonna have my own Gretzky's basement in my office with my backdrop with those 2 twigs. So no, Gretzky's basement we should bring up. First year it popped off was last year Toronto All-Star game, and it was awesome. Like, I didn't really know what to expect. It was perfect though. You get to see all this old memorabilia, pictures. It's great. Like, we've described it before. But it wasn't like a crack house in Toronto, like the house. I was like, what the fuck? I kind of liked it. It made it a little bit more authentic.
I know you did because you lived in one in Scottsdale for 10 years in the NHL, so I get that.
Shout out to the pillar. I used to go across the street to Sushi Brokers to grab like rolls of toilet toilet paper to bring back at my crack den when I would run out of toilet paper. I'd be tooping from the bathroom at Sushi Brokers across the street. But go back to the Gretzky's basement.
Swooping.
Well, the house they have now, and I want to bring it up because you're listening to this on January 2nd. It's still open for the 3rd, 4th, and maybe even the 5th because I think a bunch of Big Ten hockey teams, Notre Dame, Michigan State, a few others are coming to play at the arena at Wrigley. Or at the arena at Wrigley. Wake up with the field, the ice at Wrigley. So if you're in Chicago, head on over. You could sign up online. You get to see so much. And the merch, they've even upped the merch. I got a t-shirt that's sick, like a little kid with the 99. It's awesome. We got hats. And you can't get the jacket. I believe they only made like maybe 50 of those jackets, Biz. They're selling big bucks. Those things are sick. So good for you getting one signed.
Well,
I'm sure you'll find a way to ruin it. You probably spill food on it today.
When I put it on, I ended up snapping all those draws back on Bedard. So even just the aura of Wayne Gretzky's jacket and Gretzky's basement helped me overcome one of the greatest prodigies that hockey's ever seen. So thank you to the great one and the family for giving me that extra juice going Biz versus Bedard.
And before we get into Biz versus Bedard, I do have to bring up like another experience with you at a restaurant, Biz. Unbelievable. Like it's just wild to see.
What do you mean? I was good this trip.
You were good. You were good. You just had your moments. It's like a player going through a slump and you see him coming out of it and he's making some plays and then boom, pizza up the middle. It's like, fuck, this guy just can't figure it out for a full 60 minutes. So we get to the restaurant and Biz is fuming that like he threw out like pretending to joke. Hey boys, like family style, share it all up. And we're just like, no. He's like, oh, I was just kidding. He's like, shit. Like you knew he wasn't kidding. And so the waiter had come to us a few times, ready to order. No, give us a couple more minutes. Finally, he comes back and everyone's ready to order. And he goes to Biz first. And he says, hey, go ahead, sir. And Biz like, I haven't even looked. So Jeff's like, all right, go to Mikey Grinelli, right to Biz's right. And then swoop all the way around. And Biz, you can go last. It gets all the way back around to Biz. Everyone's got their orders. He goes like this. Oh, I haven't even looked. Because the minute the guy went to his right, he got back on his phone. And we went through the same thing again when it got back to him. And then when he finally looks at the menu in a panic, he goes, I wrote it down. Can I have the fettuccine pasta? I wrote it down. And the whole table, I said, what the hell's fettuccine pasta? Gretzky told us to go to this restaurant. They must have this new pasta. And I'm looking at the menu and I go, this one? He goes, yeah. I go, that says fettuccine. The fettuccine. I don't even know how you get. I wrote F-A-H Teddy to like try to remember how you pronounce fettuccine. So incredible like example of Biz ordering and just not. And then
he got two meals.
And
they were like two of the same things.
Myself, Keith to my left, Merles to his left, Timmy Stapleton.
This
to his
was
left.
bullshit.
Chicken parm.
This was bullshit.
Parm.
This was bullshit. There's 5 guys in a row that got the chicken parm train.
But you weren't listening.
Buddy,
you were on your phone. You were on Raya. Swipe it. What a city. Rockets in Chicago.
That's one thing you need to add to that disclaimer about Chicago is the women here. I might have to move here to meet my future wife. This city is
in a place here.
Just a little whack pad.
I got to tell the story at Gibson.
Wait. Okay. But listen, you should have nudged me and said, jump on the chicken parm train. That's a fucking Why are you laughing, bro? That's a bullshit move.
If you I can admit, like, hey, all 4 of us got the parm.
Done.
Dude. And we got the vodka sauce on the pasta.
When you see a teammate struggling like that, especially in the ordering department, you gotta lift me up, bro. You gotta lift me up.
But when Wayne Gretzky tells you to go to a restaurant and it's the best Italian he's ever had, you better bet your fucking ass you're getting a chicken parm as long as your arm. And the guy next to you is getting a chicken parm as long as your arm. And the guy next to him is getting it too. Not the fucking...
As long as my Forzy.
You went with like the veal bolognese on the fettuccine. I was like, what is that order? And he's like, but watch this. And then another like short rib order came over. He's like, this is for the table to share, as he inhaled the entire thing. We were at Gibson's the night before that. Some great team dinners. And
shout out to Vinny Laverde.
This was crazy.
Okay. So Dale ended up inviting a few extra people. So my buddy Vinny Laverde, the captain of our Calder Cup team, couldn't even end up sitting down at the main table. He had to sit in the bar with another guy that Dale had invited. So he gets pigeon tossed after setting up the whole meal at Gibson's for us. So to my former captain and an absolute legend of the American Hockey League, Vinny, I am sorry for the way that this played out. Go ahead, Whit.
Great guy. So we're at Gibson's, and as this all went down, like we couldn't get a reservation till I think 9, and we ended up getting there at 8, like thinking maybe we'd be able to sit down a little bit sooner. And Biz is hungry, and when this dude's hungry, world fucking stops.
Oh, yeah.
Talk to him about anything.
Yep.
Don't bring up any subject. I need food.
Yeah.
And so Biz like goes in and somehow gets them to give us a big, huge table in the bar. So then the waitress is like, hey, what do you guys want to drink? I'll bring over the menu. He's like, no, well, we just want appies. We're sitting here. We're waiting until our table's ready, but I need food. I need food. So
I didn't say it like that to her.
No. To me, you did. But to the waitress, you were very polite, as always.
Thank you.
And there was a very attractive woman. I'm going to guess 10 to 15 yards away to the table. And I noticed, like, she's continually looking over at Biz, like looking over. I'm like, Jesus Christ. And sure shit, Biz gets his appy, like scarfs that down, then goes to the table. And as he's walking by, and now Biz, like very, women love you. But I think the Irish Travelers thing's taking it to another level. And he's walking by, and I'm watching
Jesse
the whole
Smollett,
thing.
never happened.
He hired these Irish Travelers, and he's paying them with the Gretzky Hespler. That
My
he got.
Raya
He knew he was
profiles,
getting
the surveillance.
it. So as we walk by, the girl, boom, grabs him as he's walking by. I was like, Jesus Christ. I'm watching the whole thing. He just you were a little surprised and shocked as well. And she rips you in. And then you're talking. And I see, take down my number. I got to go eat, baby. I'm hungry. He's even telling this new woman he's just meeting how hungry he is. And she turns around and to the table as Biz leaves. And I'm just looking at her, reading her lips. She goes, he's so fucking hot. I'm like, what the fuck? Fuck this guy.
Everywhere we go.
Fuck this guy. And not only does that happen, he goes, oh, boys, look at this. About 30 minutes later, and he gets a text because he'd given her his number. And it's like, it's so amazing to meet you, Paul. Let's just get out of here soon. Private. I don't need anyone to see us. I just need to spend time with you. I was like, what planet are we living on now? If you saw this guy running around Wheeling, West Virginia, not being able to make a tape-to-tape pass.
Squatting over cars.
Making people call him Biz Nasty. Would you ever believe women be grabbing him at Gibson's, dragging him home? So good for you, Biz. Very happy for you.
She said, are you Dwayne The Rock Johnson? I said, you're goddamn right.
You said C.
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
sorry.
great trip. We didn't talk about it before that dinner. We were at the DraftKings Sportsbook here, betting those games, and it was just an amazing time. Sitting up top there with those giant screens.
Yeah.
If you've never been there, go check that out.
And then
such a fun night.
Speaking of DraftKings, the busy bets hit the last one of the year.
know.
How about that one? Thank God of that assist that Bedard got in the third period for not losing that one for us. But that place, just to go sit down, like if you got an afternoon with all these games on, with like all the bowl games and stuff, like grabbing 12 buddies going to get a table there. They got a million TVs. You can gamble. It's a fun environment. It's clean. So shout out to them for not only hosting us, but what a setup in Wrigleyville.
So into the Winter Classic, the day before was really cool. The good weather day I mentioned, we got to go over to the field. And Biz, giving you credit, you looked pretty good on your wheels against Bedard. Like you weren't going to win the skating, the kind of back and forth.
I think I would have if they wouldn't have. Like I didn't think that was a false start on the first one. Nobody's going to see that footage. I thought I was high stepping right out of the gate, right on the toes, just like my power skater Nancy Gruhl taught me back in Welland, Ontario with the edge work. Why are you laughing, bro?
I had
people.
In the mix, January 1st.
I saw 100 tweets of people thinking it was Cale Makar. They're like, "What's he doing at the Winter Classic?" I thought Colorado wasn't playing in that this year. I thought they were done after the Lake Tahoe experience.
But you were snapping back the draws on him, and you kind of got screwed. I think you won that, and then they ended up saying you false started a draw too. But very impressed, Biz. For a guy who hasn't skated, your crossovers are horrible. It's like short, choppy, and your knees are straight. But everything else, like you looked good, dude. You looked very good.
I think that was the problem, as we've talked about before, as my career progressed. Like I wasn't doing a lot of mobility and flexibility, so my hips are so tight. So when it comes to the crossover stuff, it's just like I'm not really generating any power. But I kind of look like McDavid because they're fast, like they're quick and fast. You know how he really turns them over. But I think he's probably doing like a skate sharpening than I am or something. That's probably why he gained so much speed.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's just the hollow. It's
Yeah, the profiling on the edge. I was just waiting for his ACL to blow out and take out Connor Bedard and ruin the Winter Classic.
It did. But I had the girl from Gibson's come over and rub it out.
There was a girl working for the Blackhawks, I believe, watching the whole thing, and like she was in panic mode, dude. Her heart rate must have been 180 watching this because your skates are flying up near his like fucking neck and stuff. I was like, oh Jesus, man, Biz is gonna knock out the league face of the franchise. But the best part,
I did catch a rut the one time, and my stick came up quick, and I must have missed him by about 3 inches. Could you imagine getting a call from Gary Bettman, like being like, "You've just taken out our poster child for this whole Winter Classic with a flick of your wrist, you fucking dummy."
It would have made you even bigger
yeah,
star.
Exactly.
And wait, how about Chicago's breakaways in the practice?
Oh my God, you guys. So that's the same day, because there was another moment day before the game that I wanted to talk about. But so Chicago is so bad. I mean, this team is legit horrible. Horrible. They're getting blown out every game. So the end of practice, fun practice. You're outdoors. It's beautiful out. All right, we're going to line 5 pucks up on one blue line, 5 pucks up on another blue line. They were split into white and red practice jerseys, and red's at one end. You go down, you get the puck, you go on a breakaway. If you miss, you got to get the puck. You got to bring it back to the blue line. The game's not over until all 5 pucks are scored. Buddy, we were there 35 minutes. They've been 1 goal. They had 9 pucks left. And guys are looking around like this is not every media of the NHL is like, Jesus Christ. Like at one point, you're like, Mrazek, let them score. Like, let these guys score. This is pathetic. This is crushing their confidence. I mean, I looked over at one point and the faces on these poor guys, that's when I said, Merles, I'm betting everything I own on the Blues tomorrow. Everything I own. Pathetic. And I feel bad for Chicago. Maybe there's better days to come. Apparently, like the GM went in after the game and was giving it to the team. It's like, I don't know, man.
So you
kind of put this.
You sent the text to the group chat. So you had heard that? Like who? Like
Yes, I heard that. I heard that the GM wasn't thrilled with the effort in front of the
after
Chicago
the game
faithful
last
in
night.
Wrigley.
Yeah, so I would imagine then he came in, and then that's probably why you saw the quotes that you saw. Not to say you wouldn't have seen quotes similar, but it seems like when Halsey got interviewed, I think Foligno got interviewed, and Bedard, like they were basically like what was the term that Bedard used? He's like, we got dog walked. Is that what he said?
Like we laid an egg or something.
We laid an egg. We got dog walked. Like all the verbiage to basically say you got bent over and booed off the ice in your quote unquote home barn. Like, come on, man. Especially after everything that's been happened leading up to this, with like how brutal they've been. Like you go back to maybe the Taylor Hall healthy scratch and just all the, I guess, drama surrounding the team, in the sense of there wasn't maybe as much buzz as I would have anticipated coming into this Winter Classic, because people from a hockey standpoint here might be a little bit checked out. Like the games aren't even on television here right now, from my understanding.
Hawks fans, Biz, at the meet and greet at Sluggers, they were disgusted with what's going on. Like I asked all the Hawks fans, the diehards, like, what's your thoughts? What's your feelings? And just like, I swear to God, not one of them had anything good to say. They were like, this is just a nightmare. I can't believe, like, we thought there'd be a little bit of a step forward this year. So I said, well, there's some very special prospects coming up this year. And this McKenna kid, holy shit, for 2026. But yeah, it's ugly. It's very ugly. Now, probably coolest moment of the game, and I thought it was Foligno asking Braden Shen, but it was the other way around. That's how much of an animal Shen is those two guys squaring off. And then after, Darren Pang was talking to Braden Shen about it, and he's like, was that Foligno who asked you, teams down? He's like, no, I just kind of wanted a fight at Wrigley Field, center ice, something they'd never be able to take away from me. And Foligno was furious. He's tough as shit, too. He kind of gave him a little bit of a beating, but it ended up being like a great moment in an otherwise kind of brutal game. Like you just see these two guys, two captains, just toe-to-toe center ice. But Shen being the one that wants it when they're up 5-1, that shows he's definitely a Western League crazy boy.
Well, you know why he did it partly, too, is I guess the night before, Wayne was talking to him and said he picks the MVP for the game and that the MVP gets a car. So they were joking around, and Shenner's like, well, I'm going to get in a scrap and like score a goal, and you're going to have to give it to me. So, and then after the second period, after he'd gotten in a scrap, he texted Wayne going, do I get the car? And Wayne in the post game mentioned that he's like, he never even told him the truth. He completely bit for the gag.
Oh, there was no car.
There was no car. It was just the Cocoa Cup trophy, which Cam Fowler ended up winning, which I think maybe aside from Braden Shen was probably maybe the top story. And the fact that this guy playing in his 1,000th game after this whirlwind of the last 2 weeks. I mean, I think he was 7 or 8 games away from it when he'd been traded. Plays 992 or 993 with Anaheim Ducks, historic Duck. All the Ducks guys on the way to the game on the same night. There was a picture of Troy Terry. They were all celebrating his 1,000th game as well to pay homage to a guy who did so much for their organization. But the fact that he steps up and scores 2 big goals for them, what a moment for that guy, and well-deserved. And he's actually going to be dropping on this pod. I'd never had the chance to talk to him, but just seems like the classiest, nicest, best teammate you could ask for. Did you guys know anything about him before we talked to him?
Not really, no. He played in the Fallon Cup, which I talk about a lot, Wollaston's member guest with Kyle Palmieri one year, but I had just said hello. Great guy. Keith said it best. Great laugh on him. He starts laughing, makes me laugh. And I think he was giving us some fake laughs, which is always nice. If you ever want to be on the show, fake laugh, I'll love you forever. But that was great.
We interviewed Brian Noonan. He was pretty good at that too. He gave us
a lot of fake laughs.
He might go down as my favorite Chiclets guest of all time, Brian Noonan, who we got a chance to interview at Gretzky's basement. You guys chuckle. I honestly think this guy was fucking with us the whole time. We got to go back to Cam Fowler, but just remember, folks, Brian Noonan, who's coming, greatest Chiclets interview of all time.
Yeah, Cam Fowler with that first goal, a little bit later than Army's goal. So Army is still the king of the Winter Classic.
Correct.
But my favorite part of the whole night was after the game, you see Fowler in the locker room. He's crushing a beer. Everybody's just celebrating. It's I can imagine the difference of those 2 locker rooms. One is rock bottom, and that other one is just laughing. Monty's in there giggling, laughing, getting all the boys going, and it's just great vibes for the Blues right now.
Boys, do you get the feeling that the Blues, if they sneak in with a wild card, they could be a dark horse team? I'm starting to get feelings. I got the butterflies in my stomach for this team. The fact that they make the Fowler move, I think that their back end has wily veterans. Broberg's a young guy who adds that, great two-way puck-moving defenseman. Binnington, when you're playing for keeps, the fucking snowman's going to show up. The guy's got ice in his veins. He's going to be going off to 4 nations. I think one of the issues has been goal scoring, but I think that they can find a way, especially later in the season where things get a little bit rougher and it's harder to score goals. Like that Jake Neighbors has no problem going to the blue paint. He's a complete throwback. We talked about Schenner. Kyrou Thomas is healthy after getting injured at the start of the year. Who else are you impressed by? Buchnevich.
Well, yeah, you left him out. You left out my guy, and it really hurts. It's like a gut punch, but Holloway. He's got 14 goals now, boys.
He's a fucking spark plug.
He's got 14 goals, and everyone saw it in the playoffs for Edmonton, and I understand Edmonton's looking great, but God, that offer sheet, Doug Armstrong knew what he was doing. I think he saw enough with his speed, some of those skilled goals he had in the playoffs. Like, this guy's on pace for 30 goals now, and he's not making anything. So it's like that's an addition that Army knew. This he's young, he could skate, and he's looked awesome.
I asked Braden Shen, we got a chance to talk to him before the game. I said, I don't know what your guys' expectations were in the locker room exactly coming in, but how do you feel about this group? And he alluded to the Cam Fowler trade and then bringing those guys over where he's like, Army's giving us a chance to win, man. We talk about for Chicago, for instance, it's a prime example why I think maybe more teams moving forward aren't going to strip it to the bottom and unload everything, because you let a guy like Hagel go, congratulations on getting 2 picks, but look at the way that he's turned out in Tampa. He was their best player when Chicago got rid of him. So you look at this retool element and the way they've been able to do it, even going back to last year for St. Louis, Buchnevich was on the table, but they never got an offer. They didn't just accept okay, this is a solid offer, let's get rid of him. They realized they had a good piece and they kept him. And now because they kept him, they can continue to build off of that. So asset management and those offer sheets, I'm telling you it. I think that was a rookie mistake by the Edmonton Oilers letting those 2 guys walk. I think that that's the reason they're going to get beat by the LA Kings in the first round this year. And by the way, they lost the other night in overtime to them. Keep the fucking change. And Merles has them labeled as frauds.
I just think they're not going to beat the Oilers or they're not going to beat Vegas in the playoffs. So if you don't get out of the first round, you're a fraud.
Mark my words. If LA Kings with a healthy Drew Doughty, they play Edmonton in the first round, LA will beat them. I know I've said it 4 years in a row.
It'll be the 4th year in a row, bud.
I know it's the 4th year in a row. It went from 7 games to 6 games to 5 games, but this will go back the other way. It went to 4. They beat him in 4.
No, he's saying that's what
No,
will
this
happen
year they're going to beat him in 4.
Oh,
LA is going to beat Edmonton in 4.
thank you.
Fuck you, Keith. Another
you,
thing,
busy
the
boy.
day before the game, because Merle's brought up Monty. G, and I was waiting for this. I knew this would happen.
No, he saw him.
He got
saw
me.
G, and I knew it. And right
got
away,
me.
he's like, "You motherfucker!"
No.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so we were standing there and I saw Merle's, Witt, Jens talking to him, and I looked at memes. I'm like, no. Do I say something? Do I walk over? He's like, you gotta. So I took one step towards them, and he's like, you motherfucker, this is the guy that was calling for my job in Boston. Comes over, like throws me in a headlock. He's like, you motherfucker, you were calling for my job in Boston. He's the best. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. He could tell he put me on my toes. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. And he's like, buddy, I don't give a shit. You got a job to do. I'm just fucking with you. I don't care. And then he's walking away too. And I'm like, Coach, we miss you in Boston. And he's like, no, you fucking don't. And I'm like, yeah, fuck, you're right.
He, I think I heard it from Merles, or maybe it was Jans who told me. He did mention something to you about like one element of the story you told was wrong, where it wasn't a rift between him and Sacco at all.
Well,
like
no, that's not what I said, and I think that was kind of taken out of context. All I said was in the summer when they promoted him from assistant coach to associate head coach, that there was a conversation that was like, hey, Monty's contract might not get done. We're nowhere close with Monty. So if that contract does not get done, you'll be our next guy. People took that as, oh, Monty's the guy. Monty's on the hot seat. Sacco's the next guy. That's not what I was saying.
And like his guy's kind of like mowing his grass essentially,
Yes.
like behind his back, knowing that he's going to take.
And he
his
did
buddy's
say
job.
that. He's like, you kind of put Sacco in a tough spot there. And I'm like, well, not really, because I think that was a conversation that the Jacobs and Sacco had that was taken out of context out of what I said. So all I was saying in the end was that Monty was nowhere close with his contract with the Bruins, which I proved to be right about once again.
All
Hey,
right,
he wanted
I
to
like
make
that.
sure he's like Sacco was the most loyal
Yes,
guy.
yes.
That's what he was saying. He's like, he's the most loyal guy.
Yes.
What a
He
guy.
wasn't trying to go
Monty's
behind
the
me or
best,
anything.
eh?
He really is.
And-
He's awesome.
And then that whole staff, at that same time, that whole blue staff was around Otter and all these guys. They got a
How about
great
their
staff.
outfits?
going.
What? Who's?
Otter shows up. He's got his beard. What did you say to him, Keith? Like it was the brightest blue you could ever imagine, just from his neck to his big toe, just blue. It was ridiculous, Coach. And
50
Monty's
Shades
just a
of Blue.
shorter guy.
They looked like they were like a extermination team going into like an office building to just like smoke out some termites.
Cockroaches?
This is unbelievable.
Monty
Cockroaches?
looked like the girl who blows up as the blueberry in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Like when she doesn't listen to Willy. It was so good. It was so good.
I know we mentioned all the moves that Armstrong had made. I mean, that's kind of in my opinion, the biggest one. Like Monty is just such a motivator, and you've seen these clips of the way he addresses the team, and you saw it too in Boston, and the way he's able to have that quick impact. It seems like all the guys are bought in, and they're drinking his tea right now.
Yeah, it starts right at the top. You already talked about it with Army, and then Alex Steen was down there with us. He's mucking around, and that's a guy that just has the ultimate respect of the whole hockey world.
Mr. Marnark.
Players, everybody. Like, so it's just a great organization to see right now.
Yeah, St. Louis 3 points out of the second wild card spot. Pretty cool to see. They're buzzing around. It's awesome. Last thing I kind of forgot to mention from the live show, I brought up Glenn Healy, who helps us get so many guests. He's such a great guy, important to us. We were able to present him with a check for $25,000 that we've raised or donated to the Alumni Association, and hopefully that continues to grow. We're able to do that more than just one time, but I think he was appreciative, and he talked a lot about what it means to be able to be an alumni and to look out for your fellow teammates and players that you went through the same things with. And because of that, was it the next night we went to the event at the House of Blues Biz? That was awesome. Now, all of us knew Chelios was throwing on something, and they came over to support us. So we went over to support them. It was great. We ended up on stage. I think there was about 50 players there. Got a picture in front of the cup. I touched the cup for the first time. Well, I touched it when I was like 10 years old. That was a big mistake. But we were able to like get with all the guys. John Hamm was up there. He was laughing.
He was
it
like
up,
a WWE heel. He had a couple cocktails in him and was like trolling all the Blackhawks fan. But I think it just goes back to getting Glenn Healy on and us as younger guys becoming a little bit maybe more aware of what like former players are going through and what these guys actually do for the alumni. Like currently right now, I'm wearing a Kelly Chase jersey as well. He's, battling through cancer, and like he's an absolute legend. And these guys do so much for their fellow brothers and the brotherhood of hockey. So we want to bring more awareness to the NHL alumni. And I think in just talking to Heels and Chelios and JR and Wayne, especially, like Wayne's so involved with the alumni because he wants to help out as well. I think the goal is just with where the state of the game is at right now and what these franchise values are at, and it goes back to the Glenn Healy interview, I think they're trying to basically create like a fund or get like all these past players health insurance and just like a little bit of a
Merle.
I cornered Healy in the basement of that theater when you guys were up there on stage trying to get all the alumni some health insurance. And Stapleton just thought it was hilarious. He's like, I hear Merle's talk about it all the time in the pod. I didn't think he was serious.
I think there's conversations in the work right now with like the NHLPA and the fact that there's rumblings that they're going to settle and get a new CBA figured out because everything is just so healthy and actually ink it a little bit sooner than the time that it expires. So if like Gary Bettman and the owners and the PA were able to like set up some type of fund in order to help these past players who have paved the way for these new guys and new wave to make, 14, 15, 18 million dollars as these years are coming up, I think that would really like solidify Gary Bettman's legacy as a commissioner to get the league to where it's at, but also then pay homage and give back. And like I said, Glenn Healy and all these former players have really led by example, like Wayne and Chelly, in order to set it up so those guys would be potentially possible to get that. So I hope it happens, guys. Like the state of the league is amazing, and I just wanted to shed some light on that and also shed some light to Kelly Chase, who's battling for his life right now, and he's done so much for past players, so he deserves all the love and praise for that as well.
Yeah, no doubt. Well said by you. And I know things haven't gone great for the Hawks, but Taylor Hall, longtime friend of mine, and he was nice enough to come and sit down with us. So we got Taylor Hall and Cam Fowler this episode. He came over to the Barstool office, sat down with him, sat down with Pat Maroon, sat down with Cam Fowler. So I think right now it's time to throw it over to Hall.
Before we send it over to him, should we not talk about maybe where we think the next Winter Classic should be? Like I'm like just looking about what's happened with the state of the game and kind of like what the last conversation was about how the league is growing. Sidney Crosby and Ovi have kind of taken the torch and ran with it. The last 20 years, they've brought so many new fans and created so many great memories. Why not do a Winter Classic in Pittsburgh or Washington next year with those two guys headlining it, where the TNT broadcasts have it? So Wayne's going to be there anyway. Get Mario Lemieux in the mix. Ovi at that point would have probably already set the goal record. Crosby, by the way, he just passed Mario Lemieux as the all-time assist leader in Pittsburgh Penguins history, guys. So the fact that these guys have carried the torch and lived up to every expectation, would that not be the ultimate Winter Classic for next year?
I agree, but apparently through the rumor mill, I'm hearing it's Florida. It's going to be in Florida. So I'm with you, buddy. There needs to be one more. I mean, who knows how long this is going to go? And I think it would be in DC because I feel like Pittsburgh's had a bunch of them. But I am 100% on board with that. But everything I'm hearing is Florida, Boston. So I don't know what's going to happen.
Would that be Stadium Series, Wick? Because I was hearing Florida would be Stadium Series in Miami.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
With the retractable roof there.
There was a lot of rumors going around. I heard Tampa. I heard Fort Lauderdale. I heard Orlando. I heard all sorts of rumors this week.
Biz, I'm with you, though. And speaking of Crosby, passing Lemieux as the all-time assist leader for the Pittsburgh Penguins, if Sid continues to go on and do what he's doing, which is just not slowing down, he will end up holding the record of the most assists for one franchise. Do you know who currently holds that record?
Probably still Wayne with Edmonton.
Nope.
Steve Yzerman?
Nope.
Wow.
Eastern Conference or Western?
Eastern.
Raymond James Bourque.
Raymond James Bourque for the Boston Bruins. So I think Sid at one point will end up breaking that record, and just what he's done, and the fact that when he came into the league, Mario said, I remember he said, he's going to break all my records. And everyone's like, well, no, he's not. Like, you're just being a really nice guy that owns and still plays for the team, and he's also living with you. And he's actually doing it. Like it seemed like a throwaway comment just to really pump up this prodigy that's coming into the system. No, he's actually gone on to straight up do what Mario said he would do. So just incredible to see that. And the Pens are humming along. Biz, what do you got before Halsey?
Did you see Sid's dad getting emotional in the crowd?
Yeah, that was awesome.
You don't really see him get interviewed or talk much. He kind of hangs out behind the scenes. You know, he's not this crazy hockey dad. He's just a hockey dad who loves his son and supports him through and through. And I just thought it was a very special moment. And you could just tell how happy he is that his son has been able to live out his dream the way that he's done it and just supported his kid the way that you should. So I just wanted to shed light on Sidney Crosby and everything he's done for our game because he's an absolute fucking G.
Yeah. And I think probably his dad, like 3 cups, Olympics, everything that we've talked about. But you realize at some point, like it's coming to an end. And you're watching this kid you've watched since he was 4 years old dominate every single time he's on the ice. And then these records come and these championships come. But there's definitely moments of reflection. I think for players, it's when you retire. But for parents near the end of a player's and their son's career, it definitely probably hits them in different ways, right? And so to see, like, Troy was always around. He was always at practice, so friendly, nice guy. And just to see what his son has done, like, he's lived up to everything. And there's definitely got to be moments for him like, holy shit, like what's actually happened is beyond my wildest imagination. So yeah. Amazing for Crosby, amazing for the Pens.
Yeah, and one other thing, too, we didn't mention, the TNT broadcast, we got to get Bill Murray on. I don't know if you guys ended up seeing it.
I didn't see it. I was flying. What was he like?
Oh, buddy, it was like Robin Williams. Like the jokes were coming and like it would take like 10 minutes to land in my brain. Like him, Wayne, and Chelly were just snapping it around. So it was just surreal. And then the next segment, John Hamm's on there. So just a star-studded hour preview show to the Winter Classic. And I had a blast and just a surreal moment for me getting to meet Bill Murray. Because I mean, you got. I mean, Caddyshack's probably one of the best sports movies of all time. What's the other one? What About Bob? Was that?
What About Bob is awesome.
That's one of the most undercover films of all time too. So that was pretty sick.
So Biz dominated Bedard in a matchup, and that's a former first overall pick just a couple of years ago. And we had another one on Taylor Hall, went into what's going on this year in Chicago and how he's talked to Bedard about dealing with being first overall. So I think it's a good time to throw over to him now. Guys, time to talk about DraftKings. Before we go any further, I want to talk to you about it being the most wonderful time of the year for getting in on all the hoops, the football, and the hockey action at DraftKings Sportsbook. In the season of giving, we're being gifted college football and basketball, pro football and basketball, and pro hockey too, almost 24/7. There's so many games every day, and there's so many opportunities to place your first bet. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to DraftKings Sportsbook app and place your bet. And here is an amazing gift for all new customers. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Just a simple little $5 wager. Hit the win. Boom, $150 in bonus bets, and all of a sudden you're ripping and rolling, building that account up. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code Chiclets. That's code Chiclets, CHICLETS, for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. When you bet just $5. Happy holidays from DraftKings. The crown is yours. It's an absolute pleasure to be joined by a good friend of mine right now. We're in Chicago, Winter Classic coming up. My old roommate, Taylor Hall. What's going on, Halsey?
What's up, boys? Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for swinging by.
When was the last time we had Halsey on?
This is probably his 3rd or 4th time, I'd say. Gee, you'd know better, but I'm going to say it's been a while. You were on the Bruins when you were on last.
Okay, so he'd already won his MVP.
He'd already won the MVP award. 867 games now, buddy. 2018, so it's been just he hasn't been on since 2018?
No.
Holy
Jesus.
shit. We're coming up on 7 years. Halsey, we just said 867 games. You're now older than I was when we met, and I was old balls to you when we met. So do you realize now how quickly this has gone?
Yeah, but I think you probably felt that you didn't feel that old at the time. Like
now I do.
I don't feel that old until like we come back from a road trip like last night and I have to put on the shinnies and play. Like I felt pretty old this morning, but no, like talking to the guys and being around the team, I don't feel old at all. But looking back at, how old you were and just being around all you guys, now I'm older than you guys were. It's different, but I'm still having a blast.
What's hard is, or not hard, but you probably could tell guys like, hey, enjoy it. It goes by so quick. Like, it's been this long for me. And if I'd said that to you, you'd been like, all right, buddy, whatever. But you just want to be able to tell kids, like, just enjoy every day. But it's so hard to listen when you're that young. For some of the young guys on the Hawks with you,
It is. It's different. Like, I remember all you guys saying this, it's going to go quickly, you know, and then it's like, bam, I can't believe, like, 5 years or 7 years since I've been on this podcast.
I know, that's
like,
crazy.
Just, it really does fly. And I'm at the point now where I'm like pretty grateful. And I look back on a lot of really good times, and I'm just enjoying my last few years here and trying to make the best of it, have as much fun as I can. And, you know, hopefully my son can see me play and understand what's going on. There's a lot more to it. And, you know, I have a lot more gratitude and perspective. And maybe it's because you guys were always saying that to me back in the day.
Yeah.
It's got to be special too. Like when you were a young kid, first overall, coming into the league, and then now, like you just said, you have a son. I'm sure he's coming to the rink, seeing the guys. Like, I couldn't imagine that. You know, I had daughters, so they weren't really interested, but it just must be amazing to come to the rink and how the guys treat your kid and stuff. Must be fun to see.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's one big family, right? And that's the thing that's special when you can play and have your family experience it. You know, the Winter Classic coming up, my wife's family, my mom's coming in, all that stuff. It's like, yeah, we want to win the game, we want to play well, but there's a lot more that comes with it, and just trying to enjoy that as much as I can.
Is this your first one?
No, I played that one at Fenway in
there's a comeback win.
Yeah, so Fenway and Wrigley is two pretty awesome Winter Classics.
Yeah, when Pasha was in the middle of the outfield. Legit. Snuck onto the outfield. He was like over on the Green Monster, like writing New Jersey Devils in the back of the wall. Like, and all of a sudden we got our passes
he's a big
taken away
Devils
by the
fan,
inning.
right?
Yeah, he's insane. He's
biggest
insane.
jock sniffer in the world.
Dude, I remember he was pumping the Devils tires a couple of years ago, and you're just like, no, I don't want to hear about it.
We still are doing that, and they're like, unbelievable. Like, I don't want to hear it. You've ruined the Devils for me.
I feel like you guys had a pretty like a veteran group in Boston. Like, how has it been for you, like coming over and maybe having to take on more of like a mentor role? I would imagine that one of the reasons they got you were first overall, Bedard, and kind of just helping mold him into an NHL player.
Yeah, you know, there's not many people that have been through, you know, what he's going through, and I'm one of them, honestly. And I played in Edmonton, which was a different market than Chicago, but it's a, you know, hockey craze, and there's a spotlight on you. So I know a little bit what he's going through, and we chat about it, and we talk about everything. He loves football, he loves sports, he's a sports nut. And, you know, he loves hockey and he loves working out and all that stuff. So there's just different things that, you know, we talk about, and I try and mentor him. And to go back to your point about the Bruins, like, those guys were such good leaders, and they did it in a way that I hadn't really experienced before. Like, it wasn't like hardo, like yelling at you. It was like, be yourself, be like the best version of yourself. And we're going to support you in doing that. And everyone does that, we're going to be the best team possible. So that's kind of my philosophy, and I learned a lot from those guys. It was amazing to play with them, and not just play with them, but also like have beers with them and see them away from the rink, see them with their families. It was really cool.
I remember right when I met you, like, you could tell how passionate you were about the game, and that age you'd take things home, and like after a bad game, you'd be so down on yourself, and you probably realize now that it's like wasted energy. But when you see Bedard, I'm sure he's similar. It seems like he's so intense. That have you been able to tell him a little bit, like, dude, it's so hard. It's easier said than done, but just try to like forget the bad games and move on to the next one.
The marathon aspect.
Yeah, like it's so long.
Yeah, we've had little conversations about that, and I also just try and, like, if I have a bad game, like, there is that tendency for me to want to go back to that and really be pissed off.
You would get so mad, dude.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I still have that part in me. So I can't be like that around these guys, right? Like, you got to just be a pro, and you got to come back the next day and do your, you know, I think that's the biggest thing. But yeah, it's hard because you got to understand like where he's coming from and the shoes that he's in. There's so much pressure on him. Everyone has a TV in their freaking pockets now, and they can see what he's doing every night. So there is that. Like, you have to understand, like, he wants to be the best, but I I think he'll learn as he goes on, developing other interests. Just getting away from hockey when he's away from the rink is huge.
You think it's harder for a kid nowadays? Like, because when you came up, you had all that hype about you, but
There was no social media.
the social media isn't what it is now. You think it's harder for those kids? Because I would imagine it's hard for them to not see it, right? Like
look.
Yeah, like I was lucky. I didn't look at anything, but as my career went on, it seemed more and more that the kids were looking at fucking everything. So
Yeah, I mean, when I played in the OHL, you could barely see highlights of your own game. And now, like, you can watch your kids' games on Live Barn, and like every replay's on YouTube right away. Like, he watches his Regina Pats buddies like every night. Like, and he knows how they're playing. Like, so it's just, there's so much information, and I think it's important that these, not only that, but I'd like to hear you guys' thoughts, but with the Instagram Reels and TikTok, it's like, you got to be motivated. You got to be disciplined. This diet, I feel this way when I have this diet. Like, we have this one guy on our team, and we all love him, but he's 21 and he wears a Whoop. Like,
Jesus Christ.
I slept 89% last night. Got to get that extra 11 this afternoon.
They were an old sponsor. Are they still a sponsor? Okay. I'll say this about the Whoops. I wore one because they were the sponsor for a while, and I'd wake up and I'd feel horrible. And it'd say I slept perfect. And then I'd feel great, and it said I slept awful. I'm like, I can't be doing this anymore. It's making me feel worse than I do because I'm seeing the number.
I know. And just save that till you're like 32 and you really need to like get an edge. Like,
you think the over information is fucking with the younger generation a little bit?
I just think that it's okay to like make mistakes and have fun and like play around with stuff and like get away from it, get away from the game. Like, I'm saying this now because I've had experience and I know what it, I've been in those shoes, but yeah, there's just so much available to them now. It's kind of, it's a lot.
It's also turned into where you're talking about the Instagram Reels with like the skill stuff. And we talk a lot on the show about, I don't know if you've noticed, like hockey IQ, it's like, it's just like dipping a little bit where the skill's going up. And like sometimes you're like, oh my God, that kid can do everything with the puck. But then like to make a decision at a high pace is like not as easy. And I think Instagram and all that stuff does have a lot to do with it. Personal skill coaches. Like, did you have one of those growing up? No, it's just you were fucking around on the ice, stick handling, trying things.
I know. And then you see all this stuff and you're like, I got to be doing that.
Yeah.
Like, if they're doing that, what I'm sitting at home, you know, I'm being lazy. So yeah, I never had skills coaches until now. I just think, like, I don't know if it's TikTok hockey out there, but I see the leading scorers of the league every year now, and it's like the same guys. No one really like gets up. It's like it's Cooch, it's Nate, it's Leon, it's Connor. It's you know, you got Jack Hughes up there, and he's a great player, but it's like the same guys every year. And I thought the league would get younger and younger and younger, but it seems like it's kind of getting older a bit right now.
That's a good point. It's been for 4 or 5 years now, the same 5 to 6 guys.
Yeah.
And at some point when that switches, it will be weird, like who the next generation is. I mean, I guess like with you in Chicago, like it's been a struggle to start the year for the team. So is it on you and on the older guys to stay positive every day? That's what you're talking about, not bringing it into the room when you say you have a bad game?
I thought you even like the comments after you got health bombed, like you were pretty like I don't want to say laissez-faire, but you were like, yeah, it's definitely a low point for me.
Yeah, that fucking sucked.
The health bomb thing is the worst feeling in the world. Is that your first?
Try getting 60 in a row.
It was my first, yeah, and I didn't agree with it, and there was just no communication.
He didn't even tell you, right?
Well, there was just like, hey, you know, we're expecting more from you. Like nothing. It was just like, hey, you're not playing. I was like, okay. And anyways, but maybe that's the kick in the butt I needed. Listen, I had a whole year off last year, and like sometimes you come into the year and you're fully healthy, but like you're still not battle tested. Feel like I am now. And feel like I've been playing, you know, really well since our new coach came in and all that. So I'm happy with where I'm at. To go to your point, like as veteran guys, it's important for us to be positive, but at the same time, like games like last night in Buffalo, we were down 4-0 to start the game, and
they did have the goat head jerseys.
Halsey, I tweeted
to your defense.
What did you tweet?
I tweeted The Blackhawks just played the worst period of hockey in the NHL I've ever seen, and I played on the 2010 Edmonton Oilers, which I think you were on as well.
But you also flew in day of the game.
We flew in the
There's
day.
a lot.
It was just really bad. It was.
That's a game where you're saying, hey, if we play hard and we lose 4-2 with an empty netter, it's like we're
Yeah, we didn't give ourselves a chance, right? So that's the standard, right? We're not. I don't know if we're like a playoff team, with our roster, but we got to be a team that competes and plays hard, and at times we have, and when we do, like we go into Minnesota, we lose 4-3, they score an empty net goal. We played hard.
Yeah,
that's gonna happen. They're looking to win, their division, all that stuff. So that's where we're looking to go, and I think that's really imperative at the start of a rebuild like this, is to kind of instill that in your guys and your younger guys, the ethic and just a little bit of a standard. So that's where I see my role in this, and I'm having a lot of fun being that mentor guy in this stage. Yeah.
What's the new coach like? I mean, obviously, like there's big different messages coming, but was he like offensively we can try more, things like that, or did he have any sort of exact game plan?
Yeah, so he's got an interesting career path. Like he started out as a skills coach, development, and then he worked with Rockford as their development coach, then got an assistant coach in Rockford job under Derek King, who's our assistant. So now he's the head, really? And Kinger's the assistant. So he coached in Sweden. He coached Pasta and Nylander.
Just skill coach, right?
I don't know if he was skill or if he coached them actually at like a team.
Okay.
But so he's kind of seen and I think that it's important for coaches nowadays to kind of like coach kids. To understand that generation a bit.
Yeah.
How to communicate to them.
If you're like a really old, and there's nothing wrong with the older generation, but you need to connect with them. You kind of need to understand these kids because they're much different than even we were,
Yeah.
So you notice it in the locker room where like even the way that like the things that they joke about, like from when you came in the league and just the way that they carry themselves, like I don't want to use the word nerdier, but they're just like so much more reserved, I guess.
They're in some ways they're smarter. Like they're so quick, and they have slang for everything, and I don't think they're nerdier, and there's definitely like a difference in like going out and
approach to the game,
drinking. It's not like a drinking generation, but they like to have fun and they like to joke. Like it's just, it's probably the same thing that older guys said about us when we were younger. Like I guarantee they were like, these guys, they're so dumb, like blah blah blah. And look at you guys now, like we're doing
still
okay.
Dumb.
Yeah.
Still dumb, but we're
still
doing
dumb.
okay. Yeah, I don't know.
I do think though, we thought we were like ripping it up, and like the older John LeClaire, Mark Reckies were like these pussies. They don't even. You should have seen us in the 80s.
Yeah,
no
it's
doubt.
just different now.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Who's your? Because I remember going to dinner with you and Whit and Ebbs in Edmonton. You guys had a great crew. But who's your crew here in Chicago going out on the road?
I usually go with Jonesy, Fliggy. Patty's been to a couple. Jason Dickinson. We've had a crazy road schedule to start the year, so there's been a lot of dinners. We had our rookie dinner in New York a couple weeks ago, which was great. It was a Tuesday.
Have to get up and tell a joke.
They so Fliggy makes them go on like this huge scavenger hunt, and they had to do it around Times Square. So they had to take videos of everything. Nothing bad, but just like,
what is it, like a team building thing?
Just the rookies had to go do it for
that's
for
the
rookie dinner.
Take a picture with Spider-Man or something.
Yeah, they had to like challenge someone to a sprint in Times Square.
Take a shit in the middle of Times Square with some homeless guy.
I don't know about that, but yeah,
that's fun.
I think that the team though, there is going to be a bright future because I see the Nazar kid, Frank Nazar. I think that defenseman Korchinski. I think is he in the minors right now?
No, he's up.
Yeah, he's super skilled.
Yeah.
So there's definitely prospects there. Like at some point, this team will figure it out. It's just about getting on the right path.
Yeah, I think we actually have, which is really good. We have a lot of D-man. We have Lev Shunoff in the AHL right now.
Oh, yeah.
We
Well, has
picked
he
him
got a
second
chance yet?
overall. Pardon?
Has he been called up yet or anything?
No, I think they're just letting him season. And he just got drafted and he played 1 year at college.
Yeah.
And Nolan Allen's a young kid who's like a beast defensively. Vlasic.
That kid's good.
He's really good, man. Trust me. And like they signed him to a nice ticket. Like
Bedard was raving about him this summer.
so.
I
and
saw
then-
a tweet that said they played him like they signed him to a deal for like a number 4 D-man, and then since he signed, he's been playing 25 minutes a night.
Dude, he's really good. Like
He's huge.
When this team becomes the team it's going to be, he's going to be a huge part of it because he can do everything. So that's what I'm saying. Like they're building it from the back out, and I think that's a really good way to do it.
He played at BU, I think.
Yeah, BU.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they did when they went on. They had Seabrook, Keith, Jarmelson, Bufflin,
Oduya.
Johnny Oduya. Like they built from the back end, and then
You
you hit a
have
couple
to.
home runs with Kane, Toews.
And I think that's where teams go wrong is in the rebuilds. They, have all these forwards, but these guys, like you need to build from the back out, I think.
Who's a team that you've played against this year? You're like, fuck, like this team brings it. Like that was a hard night. Besides Buffalo the day after Christmas.
The Sabres are a buzzsaw.
I don't know if you've noticed one team that you're like, oh, dude, that team's gonna be right there.
It's funny that we played Florida at home and they beat us 3. No, I think we won.
You beat them
3-2.
I remember that game.
But they play such a playoff style. Like they don't waver at all throughout the regular season. I was so impressed with them. Like you'd think that they're coming into us. We've been struggling, and they would try and make plays all night. They just like dumped it in. They forechecked. They played so gritty and hard, and that's why they don't have to change their game when they get to the playoffs.
Yeah. We were chatting last night. Would love your opinion because we have no idea that scoring's down this year. Like, and enough where like when we're betting on games, like the over under is always 6.5 last year. Now all the games are 5.5. Can you think of anything in particular why this
Another
year?
thing that was weird too is goalie save percentage was down too.
There's not as much shots.
Yeah, so is it just teams kind of like playing better defensive hockey?
Yeah, and like we always say, it's a copycat league. So do you think that people saw the success that Florida maybe had and how they can shut things down and play more physical and limit shots? Like, do you think that maybe everybody tries to mimic that, or like what do you think the reason is for it?
There's been a few changes in how teams are playing their D zone now. Like a lot of box +1. So like teams always have their D-man in front.
Yeah.
And a lot of teams have gone to a man-on-man, but there's like handoffs that can happen in certain areas.
Like a hybrid almost.
Yeah, it's not straight man-on-man where like a forward will be following a guy around all over the ice. It'll be like handoffs. So Boston had a pretty unique D-zone system where their center would have to go like board to board, and they would always have a D-man in front. So I think teams are kind of copying that, and shots are down. But like you said, save percentage is down too. So I don't know. And PKs, penalty kills have
they're getting ripped apart. I think that right now, like if you look back at the history of the NHL, if it stands, there's 3 of the worst penalty kills of all time are happening right now.
Really?
Detroit right now, the Islanders, and then there's one other team that are in the 60%.
Wow.
And I mean, we're talking about close to 40 games into the season here.
Yeah.
And like you think that the Islanders and like the way that they play and how, defensive minded, quote unquote, maybe not the way things that were supposed to go for them. But yeah, I was just going to transfer it over to maybe like more happier times. Obviously this is a rebuild. You're not winning as much, but we haven't had you on since your time in Boston. And I think you went all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals, Game 7, or no, you were not on that team. Okay. That was in the notes. Sorry.
Game 7
against Florida. Sorry. Just your time with Boston and how much you enjoyed that, Halsey.
How was Ray Bork?
How many sick passes did Adam Oates give you?
You were there,
I'm
right?
sorry,
How
man.
was the old
Were you
guard?
Were you there when Cam Neely blew out his knee?
It's just fun.
No, he was on the greatest team ever.
It's fun laughing about this.
yeah,
Oh,
that's
that's
right.
right. That's
Yeah.
what happened.
The one thing I remember about that series, and I'll never forget, is Marchand breakaway Game 5 to end the series. It was like, and everyone thinks he's gonna bury that goal. Oh, God.
Yeah, that was tough, man. I really think that we win a Stanley Cup if we get through Florida there. And I don't know, it just the way things, that's hockey sometimes, and we we played really well in Game 5. I think we outshot them 40-20 or something like that, and they sneak out a win in overtime. Our goalie Ullmark, who's a really good puck handler, kind of muffs it, and just the way it goes sometimes. And then it's just like when Connor said last year, like we drag him back to Edmonton, like we got to go all the way to Florida. We got to play there. Like it's actually a pretty good playoff atmosphere down there now. Like when you go play the Panthers. So
Game 6 was crazy too, wasn't it?
It was like 7-6 or 6-5 or something. Like and then Game 7 is so
anything.
That was really hard. And I think as I get older, that'll be harder and harder because we won 65 games.
God, that regular season must have been so fun, dude.
It was insane.
It was nuts. Like everyone, I was like, at some point they're gonna slow down. And you never did. And the craziest thing about that year was that every back-to-back you guys won. You win the back end of the back-to-back. I'm like, how is this team doing this?
We had so much depth, and like we didn't have a ton of injuries. Like I got injured a bit, but because no one had to play a lot of minutes.
Yeah.
No one, and we were up in games all the time. We weren't like grinding out these games on the road in like Columbus or something. Like everything was pretty easy. So that's why it would have been nice to get through that first round and play Toronto. That would have been so fun.
Two stud goalies too.
Yeah, I was just gonna. Like, is that the first time in your career where you maybe feel like you didn't have to be the guy?
Yeah,
you were in New Jersey, obviously carrying a big load. Where it felt like you went there, you signed a pretty team-friendly deal based on what you accomplished. I know there was a bunch of rumors that you turned down some massive contract. I think we were the ones spreading that in New Jersey. But you go there, you sign a nice team-friendly deal, and like all of a sudden you have all these different guys to snap around with.
Yeah, that was really fun. And I just felt like I was at a stage in my career where I should prioritize winning. And I also wanted to go be around a culture like that. And I think that was going to serve me well throughout the rest of my career, but just, in general, I wanted to go somewhere where I could just be one of the guys and kind of learn and have that winning experience that I wish I had earlier in my career. So I'm very thankful for everything the Bruins did for me. I love playing there, and I love that city. Like there's something about you Boston guys and just the culture and like your sense of humor, everything. It's a great sports town.
So we're watching the World Juniors now. It's around Christmas time, and you were on that. Was it this Saskatoon game that it was unreal gold medal game that Carlson scored?
Yeah.
Who from that team besides like you and Ebbs? Who else was on that team that's playing?
Kadri. I think Jake Allen was our goalie. Petrangelo.
You lit it up that tournament too. Was that before or after you got drafted?
It was my draft year. Yeah, I had a good tournament. It was fun playing in Canada. World Juniors. That's the best. I can't believe they lost yesterday.
I know, it's Latvia. Jesus Christ.
Everybody's going crazy online.
We're done.
Jesus.
Latvia.
Everyone's like the 51st state lost.
Armstrong was given a State of the Union on Hockey Canada earlier today.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, if Gretzky's prime minister, he'll turn that around.
That one's been floating around too.
Team will be buzzing.
Trump kicked
when
up
he
some
tweeted
dust
that,
on
Gretzky's what the fuck?
No,
not the smoke I
Biz
wanted.
goes, you think he asked him before he tweeted that? I'm like, Trump didn't ask him shit.
There's no way he did.
Yeah. Bergeron, you got to see his last game. Obviously not the way, like, what was it just like playing with him and hanging out and like just like the ultimate team guy, unreal player.
He's like perfect. Yeah, he's always dressed well. He's got his hair done, like, and he never like messes up anything he says. Everything. He's so nice to everyone, but also like, firm when he has to be as a leader in the room. That's what I'm saying. Like being around him, Marshy, Kretsch, even McAvoy, younger guy, Carlo, Pasta, like so much fun that, that we had away from the rink, but also when it was time to get serious and, there were no better pros than them. So, but yeah, Bergie, I'm sure Bergie will be a GM or something.
No, he's
sooner.
in the content game now. Woody was working with him.
Yeah, he does a show. I think they're doing 4 or 5 in this year with him, Tuukka Rask, and
where they're watching the games.
Yes.
Yeah. I saw him doing that. I was kind of surprised.
He was great on the show.
No, I know. He's good at whatever he wants to do. I didn't think that was the way he was going to go initially.
I
but
know, neither did I. But I think he's probably just figuring it out right now.
I guarantee he's going to be in management here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eiserman
I
style.
would guess. Yeah.
Did you guys know it was his last season? Like going into that even playoff series, is it spoken about at all? Like, hey, let's fucking do this for Bergie, or is it just kind of?
Yeah, I never heard anyone say it, but I think we all knew that
knew.
Kretsch was done after the year. Kretsch would always say, "I'm done after this year."
Really?
Yeah.
He's one of those guys. Like after a tough game, man, I'm done after this year.
Yeah.
But I think we all knew, and then that's why it's so hard, to look back and know that we didn't get the job done.
How fun was it to go out and have some beers with Pasta, though? We've done a golf match with him, dude. That guy, like,
Julia.
never had a bad day.
Buddy, golfing with it.
Well, we golf with him. All right, we golf with him the day of the skills comp in Florida. He was gooned up. And I don't think he knew it was the day of the skills comp. I think he thought it was the next day.
Really?
Him and Fiala.
So the morning, and then he had to go to the
Yes.
skills
all
camp?
day.
And
all
one of
day.
them, I think you're right. One of them's like, I can't believe we have skills competition tomorrow. And like the other Fiala is like, it's tonight. We have to go to the
God.
rink after
Yeah,
this.
he had to
Yeah.
get an IV before they went over.
We had 10 shots of Pink Whitney on the front nine.
Dude, Pasta's the most fun to have beers with. Him and Jack Eichel. Jack's also my favorite to go have beers with. But Pasta, yeah, never a bad day. Makes you feel like, you're the man when you're talking to him. It's just one of those guys that, he's a special individual. And me, Smitty, and Fliggy, we played with him there, and we talk about Pasta all the time. Just a legendary guy. And he's such a sick player too. Like he doesn't even have to try. It's so effortless. So like what he can do and how he can shoot the puck. Like he takes like 10 one-timers a year in practice, and then in the game he just like bing,
Rockets.
rocket.
Yeah, I feel like it's so natural to him because he definitely works hard, but it's just like this skill level he has. It's so easy.
So talented.
Yeah. So when you look back at our time in Edmonton, like you
Holy shit.
remember some of the guys, remember Hordachuk?
He was one of my roommates. Yeah.
Remember he tried to like sell us things and like do
He was
different
always
deals?
selling. So he's what are they called in
Thunderbird.
He's a Thunderbird.
Oh yeah. Horty. Yeah, he does a lot of
I saw
renos
him-
down there. I think he owns like 15 condos where he just like fixes them up himself.
He was trying to sell me a PJ last time I talked
Oh,
to
nice.
a shocker.
Out of the blue,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
say, we got
You're
this
like,
bird.
no, I'm all good. He's like, I got a car too if you want to drive. He's like, this thing's got 10,000 miles on it. It's brand new.
He just rolled back the odometers.
Remember how mad Steve McIntyre was at me?
What did
Do
you
you
make?
remember when I was?
He wanted you dead.
I was
you
like
kept saying.
yelling at him to stop singing. Remember he was singing at where did we get the burgers after?
Deluxe Burger?
Yeah, Deluxe Burger, and we had the party there, and he was singing. I'm like, shut up, Mac. And then he fucking lost his mind on me. And then I went down to the minors. He was trying to murder me. I was changing out. He'd get on the ice, and I'd sprint to the bench. I was like, I thought we were joking around, buddy. That guy hated my
That
guts.
guy, he had a mean streak.
Oh, yeah.
Remember him fighting Derek Bugard 3 times at Madison Square Garden?
It was crazy.
That was
Crazy.
like,
Remember he knocked out Ivanez?
yeah, my first game.
Yes.
That was my first NHL game. You could hear it, like the.
Yeah, that was
Oh, no.
that was
That
bad.
When it
Ivanez
hit
was
his
a
cheek.
scary dude.
Oh, like the pop, like when you
Mhm.
handshake somebody.
Yeah,
I still think Eberle's goal is the best first goal in maybe NHL history.
it was sick, man.
That was so nasty.
I
We
know.
won that night. I was like, we're gonna make the playoffs.
We won 4-0. They were a playoff team that year.
Yeah, they
too.
were.
Yeah,
They were.
yeah.
That was a fun time in Edmonton. Even though we were horrible, man. Fuck.
I
had a lot
look
of
back and
fun.
I had a lot of fun, like being around you guys.
Hemmer. Remember how
Hemmer.
miserable Hemmer was?
Did you guys make playoffs one year when you guys were together there?
God, no.
You did.
Not even close.
Not even okay. So you guys
No,
were
I'm talking out of the
by
playoffs
December.
at Christmas.
Didn't you guys hang out at the mall and shit? Like you used to go to that
We'd
big
go
mall?
shoot guns at the mall. There's a gun range at the mall.
Remember we had our year-end party. We rented out the water park at West
Stop.
Edmonton Mall,
How fun was
and
that?
we just had races down the slides for like 6 hours.
Yeah, we'd go like get an AK-47 and you'd be in the mall. You'd be like, give me the pistol. I was like, this is awesome. Let's go to the water park now.
Let's go to
all,
Aldo.
all you guys were single that would hang out. Just
Yeah, no, Ebbs
why
wasn't.
Why
It
didn't
was
you get a truck with your name embroidered in the headrest?
Because I was a pigeon, but I'll never forget. Beverly and Halsey get back. They got trucks with number 14 and 4 in the headrest, Oilers logos. I'm like,
Colors, too,
Jesus
yeah.
Christ, guys. Oilers colors.
Dude, they had us sign like the glove box and they like auctioned those cars off.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, that was the whole point. So it's not like
There's trash in there.
It's not like we asked for that, dude.
It was for Horta,
I'm
Chuck.
trying to make a buck.
Yeah.
Horty bought it and then resold it.
Yeah.
So what's up in the summer now? Like, where are you? Where's your home base? Have you built a house or?
Yeah, I bought a place up in Muskoka. So
that's great.
Yeah, on the
Other fucking
lake,
hockey
and
guy from Ontario.
yeah. There's quite a few of us up there. We can actually have a skate now.
Yeah, that's what I got.
In Bracebridge, and they built a new rink there, so it's actually sick. I put a gym in, and so I have a sport court and all the.
So you just
all the
train on
toys
your
and-
own when you got your program?
I train on my own. I have my own program that someone gives me, Andy O'Brien, Nate and Sid's guy. And then, a couple times I actually sea-dooed over to Bo Horvat's place, and then he lives 5 minutes from the rink. So I just go with him. So it's kind of fun.
Who are the
like,
guys
that's
doing this
sick,
skate? I
yeah.
imagine Marner's there. Is JT there?
JT's there. Marner's up a little bit, but he didn't skate with us much. Matthews came and skated with us a couple times.
Sam Gagne, is he up
Henrique,
there?
Montour, Kevin Ball, the McLeod kid from Buffalo. It's a good skate.
Oh
It's,
shit!
it's,
Yeah.
it's more than enough. But Muskoka's great, man. It's
So we went in the winter. We did a pond
Did you
hockey tournament. there.
Gravenhurst.
Gravenhurst? Is that
yeah.
Muskoka?
I'm 20 minutes from Gravenhurst,
And
yeah.
it was sick. And then all the people up there that were hanging, like, you got to come in the summer. Like it. But even in the winter, it was awesome. We had the
Yeah.
Boston pizza on the
Oh
pond.
yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah. What do you do there other than just hang out on the lake? Like, do you go to? There's like one Akita Bala or something. What's the name of the bar there?
It's like a concert venue more than a bar.
Okay.
So you go watch shows there. And then Port Carling's like the kind of the town in the middle of Muskoka, and they have some bars and restaurants. But you don't you go to lunch here and there, but mostly you just hang out at your place and
And now you're a
there's
dad.
enough to do.
That's where you're at now.
There's
in your
enough
life?
to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just chill and have the family up.
So
Yeah.
Stetson Hall's 15 months. Like, what is? Are we going to start trying again here soon? Like, do you know how many kids you want to have?
Yeah, I don't know, like 2 or 3.
2 or 3.
Yeah, we're gonna be trying here soon, and yeah, man, I don't want to be like 45 still having like a kid, you know.
Oh God, yeah. Well, I haven't even started.
That's
yet.
why my wife's like, let's have some more. I'm like, I'm turning 42 in a month. I'm going to be, literally, people are going to think I'm the grandfather at high school graduation.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, that's nice to see your grandson graduate. That's my son.
Oh, man.
You got 3 now, and you want to have more?
I'm done.
You're done.
I'm done. I'm just going to do a secret get snipped.
That's what
Smart.
that's the play.
Yeah, she's like, what's happening
Yeah,
here? I don't know.
I think we'd love to have 3, and hopefully a girl at some point, and kind of have both, and try and play as long as I can.
Play as long as you can, right?
Yeah,
So you'll be a guy that they got to you just got to get no contract. for you
like
not to
like
play.
Patty, just
I don't think I'm
crawling
gonna.
around out there.
No, Patty can move pretty good.
Oh
Man,
yeah,
honestly.
right. Your nose is gonna be as big as mine. You keep lying like that.
Once he gets going, he's moving.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
those
yeah.
first few steps.
Yeah. Before the game last night, he's like, "I'm hoping to get over 22 miles an hour tonight, boys."
Yeah.
I don't know.
Track all that.
I don't
shit.
know. Yeah, they track everything now. It's not fair.
I used to take that little chip out of my jersey.
It's in the jersey.
Yeah.
It's in the jersey. Yeah. Who was telling me that they just mess her? I think it's Kaprizov would go put his in like someone else's on his team, like
Yeah, maybe
Hartman
Boldy or something. Yeah,
like-
somebody who can move.
Just to make him look good.
just to make him look good.
That's unreal.
Not to put you on the spot here, but who's a guy in the league right now? Not a superstar that we're talking about that you're like, fuck, this guy's nasty. Like maybe a name that like some people wouldn't know that you've played against, but like, Jesus, this guy's got game.
Come back to that. I'll think about it.
Because we always used to talk. You loved watching hockey. You'd watch so much.
Yeah.
You still watch games on the nights off?
I've kind of stopped watching as much. Just there's so much
Yeah.
going on, and like I think I overdid it back in the day. Like watched too much hockey and took it home with me too much. So I just like I'll watch a period here and there. If I see on my phone that
A good game.
a good game's maybe going into overtime or something like that, I'll turn it on. We're at the rink all the time, and like
I know.
NHL Network's on the TVs
Always
all
great.
day long. Like, to think about a player that Nachas looks unbelievable down in
sick.
Carolina. We haven't played him this year, but
We
he
interviewed
can
him a couple weeks
fly,
ago.
Man.
Good guy too. Yeah, he
Can
flies.
fly.
He's big too.
Big kid too. He was telling us he grew. Remember, he said he grew like 7 or 8 inches, like in one summer or something.
Really?
Yeah, and kind of just took off. Yeah, the game's in a great spot. Like, I love watching the game. I know what you're saying though. When you're playing, dude, it's like, oh my god, like I gotta shut my brain off right now.
You know, we played Calgary the other day, and that Connor Zary, he had the puck like the whole game. I don't know if you've ever
very
watched him
shifty.
play.
Is that the kid who lit up the AHL the past couple years?
No, that's their goalie who won. Like I think he was AHL Player of the Year. But he's been up. I think he was up majority of last year. He's taken on I think when he first broke in, he was on the wing, but he's been playing center and getting used to that position. Probably nice that they got Kadri there too. But he's really developing, and he's a gamer too. Like, he doesn't shy away from the physical play.
He was a good player.
Very shifty.
Yeah,
very shifty.
Yeah, that's one guy, and that Kaprizov, man,
Paul.
He's insane,
nuts.
dude. So not like he's obviously amazing, but his details like of his game, like if you watch him, like he's boxing, like he's getting
He's pretty
skin.
hard.
He's getting skin for his D-man when they're going back for pucks. Like he's doing all the stuff that like he's a.
You're saying like a little bit of an interference, give his D-man like that split second.
Yeah, he's doing everything perfect on the ice. Like literally, I didn't see him mess up a play.
Yeah, he is so fun to watch too.
He's unbelievable.
So you're 30, you just turned 33.
Yeah.
And hopefully you play 4 or 5 more years. Like, have you thought after, like, would you ever want to coach? You probably made too much money to do that. GM, like, you ever thought about it? Or is something where it's like, I'm playing right now, I'm not even considering anything?
I don't know what I want to do, and people are like, "Oh, you should like really think about it." I'm like,
no, those people are full of shit.
I'm like, well, that's the whole point. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not just gonna say I'm gonna do something because there's a lot of time, and like my kid gets older and he gets into hockey, and maybe I just want to be a hockey dad, or you know, like you guys have dream jobs. It seems like I don't know if I want to work in hockey or not. Like, I don't know.
I know.
I just really want to take it year by year and see how I'm feeling and see how I'm doing. And maybe I just want to be like a hockey dad that plays a ton of golf and
sounds really nice.
Enjoys life.
I don't know.
Even like coaching your kids and shit like that, like giving back to the game. Like you're one of those guys that, you know, the hockey needs you. Like you're a type of like, you've been coaching your kids how much that will mean to them
and
the other kids on the
stuff.
team. Yeah, it'll be, I think that could be even a thing where you could fall in love with that and just loving it. But the game needs you in some sort, just helping out at some.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't think you need to like go right into hockey after you play. Like if you're a good hockey guy and you've made friends in the game and you're smart, like you can take 3, 4, 5 years away from hockey. And
I think you're crazy if you retire and don't take a year to do nothing.
I think you should. That's my, I think it's great. Like you've been doing this for so long. Why not just go like
travel,
golf,
like
enjoy gain a bunch of weight.
Yeah. I know. Just eat shit, watch football.
Yeah.
And be like, this is nice, man.
Yeah.
I'm a normal human now.
Yeah. I kind of had that last year, actually. I had to rehab.
What happened last year?
I did my ACL.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I had to rehab, but I got like a year off hockey. So mentally that was kind of nice, and hopefully
reset for you.
Yeah, hopefully reset for the last part of my career here. So
well, you look great, buddy. We appreciate you coming by. I'm very thankful we get to know each other and play together. I had a great time. And congrats on all your success, man. It's really cool to see. So we appreciate it.
Thanks, boys.
Thanks, Halsey. You're the best.
Guys, before we go any further, I need to talk to you about Sport Clips and how to look good and how to get a haircut that you're proud of and you're happy to show off, and all of a sudden compliments are coming left and right from men and women. How does your hair look so good? Oh, I went to Sport Clips. And if you're tired of playing the waiting game when you want to get your hair cut, I feel you. It's tough. You don't know where to go. You don't know who to see. But guess what? Sport Clips has a game-changing feature on their app called the Haircut Tracker. No more awkwardly sitting in the waiting area like a bench player biz while you watch other people get their haircut. The Haircut Tracker lets you cut to the chase, track real-time wait times, and swoop in right on time for that fresh cut. It's like having a personal assistant for your hair right in your pocket. So grab your phone, download the app, and always know where you stand. Sport Clips, it's a game changer. thank you so much to Taylor Hall. Awesome guy. Crazy how he talked about how quick it's gone for him, right? And seeing and appreciating things now that he didn't earlier on. So hopefully the Hawks could turn it around. I don't know what's going to go on there, but another Hawk made the news a little bit randomly. I kind of saw it on Twitter, maybe on December 30th, the day before, and in that Jonathan Toews is not kind of dismissing the idea of somehow, some way making a comeback. Maybe
No fucking way. Taser?
Yeah, and I saw this quote, and we didn't even know if it was like real or not, but I figured it was because I saw Chris Versteeg had reposted it on Instagram. And it was just a message from Toews, like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm not
Wait,
gonna,
I have the quote right here, actually. It was from an interview with GQ. It was, there's a part of me that doesn't really feel like my career is over yet, and who knows what this next part of the journey will look like. As far as getting back on the ice and trying to make a return to the NHL, there's never any guarantees in life, but I'm going to give it my best shot. And he said that in an interview with GQ.
I'm going to text him as soon as we're done recording. Imagine getting to document his comeback. Like him.
I thought you were going to say, I'll train you because did you see me with Bedard?
That's what he's saying. Like, did you see me on the ice with Bedsy? I'm still pretty good.
I think, dude. Biz, I remember mentioning to you, because I knew you knew Toews a little bit, and I said, what are the chances like he could come on Chicago? You're like, I've talked to him. He's not ready yet.
I think he's not ready because he's, like he just said, his story's not finished. I think he's not done his fucking hockey career. Imagine he comes back and resurrects the Chicago Blackhawks.
No, it wouldn't be there. It wouldn't be there. It wouldn't be there.
No, you wouldn't. No.
He's got to move on. He's got to get on the ice, which I assume he's probably going to start doing. And his post last year, when I think last month, he went to India and let everyone know like what he's doing for his body and his mind and all the health issues he's had. And hopefully he's feeling better. I believe he wrote he is, and he's just on the path to becoming healthier and happier. And now maybe get on the ice, start skating over the summer. You're on the ice, and it would maybe be something where he gets a PTO somewhere. A PTO to a contender, Merles? Is that what you're kind of seeing?
You know where he goes and just makes everybody so upset because they add him at the very end for no money. Vegas, baby. Vegas.
Hey, you think this year he ends up on
Vegas? Why not? Throw him on there. They always add everybody at the end.
Wow.
If he went to Vegas, dude, I was more thinking going to Edmonton next year, playing with McDavid and Leon. That's just where my mind wanders.
I think Utah would be the perfect place for him.
Utah?
Yeah, I do.
What the fuck, G? Why Utah?
Because I don't think there's a lot of distractions in Utah. It's a nice, peaceful.
What do you mean? Have you not seen the fucking Housewives of Salt Lake City? You told me those motherfuckers. What do you mean? You watched that?
The show's incredible. Dude, the shit that they do, it's insane.
Okay, so I'm hearing that it's the craziest housewives. What makes it the craziest housewives?
Because, like, obviously they're supposed to be Mormon, right? You'd think, and I know nothing about the Mormon religion, but like you'd think
it's a gangbang. Like it's a big ass
proper. Like they are getting after it. They don't like drink or anything. Their big thing is like drinking soda. They get like drunk off of like drinking soda, but then they just like sleep with everyone.
Well,
it's insane.
Guess I'm moving to Utah.
Get a place in Utah.
Yep, it's gonna buy a place.
Little compound.
I've actually seen like
start a cult.
So Biz, you kind of first introduced me to soaking, and because I think you wanted to name Utah the Soakers, or maybe that was Merle's and Army.
That was the Game Notes chat.
Yeah.
Game Notes chat. Well, now I didn't know about the shakers that go with the soakers.
Yeah.
So apparently your horn goes in and then you can't move around, but then they get people to come shake the bed really hard. So that is like the movement or somewhat replacement for penetration. So like
I believe they call them loopholes. They're sexual loopholes.
Joffrey?
So they're sexual Joffrey loopholes where like technically it's just sitting there soaking where the other people are creating the motion. So technically you're not the one having sex. This is how like, that's kind of like mentally fucked up, isn't it? Like just pound.
You think?
Just pound.
I don't know if this is the spot for Toews. I don't know if this is the spot for Jonathan Toews, guys.
That's how we got there. Oh, fuck. I would like to see him with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Oh, no way. No way.
We almost made it the whole podcast without the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Where would you? Okay, you said Vegas. Where would you want to see him, Jans?
I think I think Vegas would probably be the thing that I could see most likely happening. I'd like to see him probably, Toronto. Let's go Toronto.
Fucking
fuck
rights,
you
Yance.
guys.
Fucking rights, Yance.
Fuck you guys. Take a hike, boys. Take an absolute hike. Well, another original 6 team, because Toews with the Hawks, Bedard is the Detroit Red Wings, guys. And poor Memesy, his squad, the Wings, things have not improved. They've actually gotten worse. And last year we saw this incredible run. Those games against Montreal, 1 point they missed the playoffs by, and you're thinking, all right, next year they're coming. It's the Atlantic Division, Viagra Triangle, Buffalo, Ottawa, Detroit. Somebody's doing something. Maybe 2 of them are doing something. And the Wings have gotten off to a disastrous start. And because of that, Derek Lalonde is fired in Detroit. Newsy's gone. Feel bad for him. One of those kind of, I don't know. It seemed like the energy and then the excitement and the team, it was just flat, like similar to how the Rangers look, where it's just like, oh, we're getting nothing here. And my thing about Detroit, Biz, you can go into this in a sec, but I love Raymond. I think you can win a Stanley Cup with Raymond. I love Larkin. I think you can get a cup with him. I love Seider and Edvinsson. I think in the next few years, you're going to see true studs. This Axel Sandin Pellikka is going to probably be the guy who's running the power play in Detroit when they become good again. So that right there is 3 really solid D. It's 2 great forwards. They don't have a superstar yet. They have Raymond and Larkin are right here, but there's a level of player in this league up here. And because of that, because of them not having that, that is what's really holding them back. And I was arguing with a Wings fan at Sluggers, actually, who was just randomly living in Chicago and going to the game. He's like, I don't know, man. No, I said, buddy, show me all these cup champs. Show me Tampa with Kucherov and Point and Stammer. Show me Edmonton getting to the finals, Leon and McDavid. Show me Vegas with Eichel.
Like, what was the last Stanley Cup team to win a cup that didn't have a true superstar?
St. Louis, 2019.
Yeah,
I mean, I would call,
but fuck,
I would call Petro, like the way that he played.
O'Reilly played like a superstar that run, but I would say they didn't have like a legit guy going.
Okay, fairness, G.
Okay,
fairness, G. But they had like 7 Raymond and Larkin.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like, okay, so if you have a bunch of those guys that are like top, just beneath the top tier of the NHL. But Detroit it's not the depth. And it's gonna take a long time. And I think Yzerman the entire time has realized and understood it's gonna take a long time. And Biz, he didn't really want to do the strip it down, tear it down, be truly horrible. But now it's like the Wings fans are like, oh, I don't know about the Yzerman plan.
So I don't feel like he got snippy during that press conference. He was more like, hey man, if you got a better idea, fucking I'll add you to the round table and you can have an opinion kind of thing. Because he doesn't want to rush things. I would commend on the fact that like they don't have any bad contracts. He's not rushing the situation. Like you know, to me that's the biggest thing, right? Like you have those 4 or 5 guys. By the time 2-3 years rolls around, if he's able to get this to somewhat of a contender, you have the highest guy being paid. What's Larkin making? 9, maybe a little bit below 9.
I think like 9.25 maybe.
That's gonna feel like $6 million the way that the cap's gonna be jumping up. So I can understand the frustration on Detroit's fan side, but the way that he hasn't rushed this thing, I would say give him 2 more years, and if they haven't made playoffs, then maybe consider calling it a hot seat. But for now, it's just, you know, you got to wait to get a few drafts in and see if some of these prospects end up turning into players. And it seems like going back to like even like 15 years ago, the way that the Detroit Red Wings handled things, they like to send guys and season them in the minors. Like they want these guys to learn the pro game. All we've been hearing about recently is how rushed these guys are coming in. And yeah, they have some good skill set, but by the time game 30 rolls around and that maybe speed that they came into training camp with has dropped off a little bit, all of a sudden the lack of hockey sense is really being kind of, how do I say it? Like being exposed.
Yeah, and when you say 2 or 3 years, that'd be perfect because we've talked about Casa, the young goalie.
Big goalie.
But their other one is Trey Augustine, who's the U.S. goalie at World Juniors. He wins everything. He's at Michigan State now. They're the #1 team in the country. So that absolute stud is coming down the pipeline too.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, Detroit, it'll be 9 years without the playoffs this year. They're not making it this year. I mean, what so Buffalo's what? It's going to be 14 years? That's not that far off from one of the worst droughts in pro sports. So I get the Red Wings fans' frustration, and I actually remember last year as they turned it on, me saying like the league's better when the Wings are good, and that's all I knew growing up. That's all any of us knew, is the Wings being right in the mix every single year. I want them back in. The fans want them back in. The league wants them back in for revenue, and it's kind of coming to the point where, God, yeah, next year it would be 10 years, man, without the Detroit Red Wings playing for a Stanley Cup. Shocking to see, but we'll see what happens. I feel bad for Newsy. Great guy when he came on the show, and he was very complimentary after. I think most coaches are, but he was talking a lot about their young guns and what he sees in the future. What do you got, Jens?
Do you think he's one of those guys? And I think this all the time in the NFL, when like these defensive coordinators or offensive coordinators, when they get a head coaching job, they're not to say they're not as good, but they just don't have the what's that?
They don't have the head coach vibe, Keith.
Yeah, and I heard he was an amazing head coach too, but I heard as an assistant he was unbelievable, like really dialed in, like good with the. You think some guys are just fit, and no one's ever going to say no to a head coaching job, right? If you're offered it. But do you think he's a guy that's almost fit better to be an assistant? You guys know more than I do.
Yeah, like a specialist, like he when he can just focus on the D and the penalty killing or something instead of having to worry about managing all the coaches. I mean, you saw with that St. Louis, there was 9 guys out there for the coaches picture.
Yeah. The only like thing I saw online was when I'm drawing a blank on the new coach, McClellan. Like he had his first practice and it was over an hour, and it was the longest practice they'd had all season. Now, mind you, normally over the course of the 82-game season, like a lot of teams are only skating for like 40, 45 minutes, keep it high tempo and off the ice. But when you have like a younger team who hasn't made playoffs, like I feel like you should be having a couple hour, 15-minute practices where you're digging in, you're battle drilling, like the whole rest is a weapon. I get it. But I mean, the Calder Cup championship team I was on, like we were fucking working our dicks off every fucking practice. And like, I mean, even when you were in Pittsburgh, Whit, like Crosby and Malkin and those guys, like they were pushing the pace. Yeah, you had your flow practices and your 40, 45 minutes and get off, but you also had ones where you were fucking, everything was below the dots and it was like battle your dicks off like the way it's actually going to be in a hockey game. Jens, you can speak to it too.
Yeah, it is. I think it's changed so much now. Like you'd be shocked at like if a practice goes over 30 minutes nowadays, it's
really
probably a rarity. Yeah, it's clipped down way less than when we were playing. But yeah, I think for sure that you need some. I mean, rest is a weapon, but what are they resting for? Like
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. You're not even it's going to be 82 and then you're done. You might as well teach these guys.
For the summer.
What's that?
Rest for the summer.
Yeah, like when you're good, that's when you get the 20-minute practice.
Correct.
Colorado, you get 20-minute practice.
So, and that's not the chirp Newsy. I don't know what the philosophy was, if it was like the rest of the weapon mentality, but I'll tell you this, if I was in that coaching seat, I'd be having fucking battle drills every day. Like this is how
and it's almost getting guys so pissed off that they're just like, I can't wait to play. Fuck this. Like these fucking practices, but it's like,
and I wouldn't even
change something.
I'm not trying to be a Sutter and be like a hardcore dick about it to like almost turn the guys against you to galvanize. If they had a problem with them, they can come in the coach's room and say like, hey man, like we're practicing a little bit too hard. I'd say, shut the fuck up. I say fucking win some fucking hockey games and we'll have some 20, 30-minute practices.
And then he can say, which he got his 600th win last night. He can say, hey, listen, you want to win 600 fucking games? We're going to practice hard. So congrats to him on that too.
Nice.
Yeah, Todd McClellan. Actually, when I was on Pittsburgh and we lost the cup final, so I believe 2008, he was the assistant for Babs, and that was the point in his career where it was like, this is the next guy.
Right.
This is the next guy, and it was San Jose, I believe, went from there, had a lot of really good teams there. He was in Edmonton, got them going into the playoffs. So Todd McClellan's a guy who's been around a long time, and I think LA, like, it was more the complaint of the system they were playing, probably him realizing to have any success with that roster, they had to play so defensive, but that's a guy that Yzerman's known from his other time in Detroit, and it all comes full circle, and now he's head coach of the Wings.
Yeah, I think that there was like a tweet or something about the playoff droughts that McClellan has ended for their organizations when he stepped in as head coach. And I mean, it was only a couple years ago, I think it was you talking about how he was the front runner for the Jack Adams, and then they ended up losing like 10 in a row with the Kings, and then he was the first guy fired.
Yeah.
Like he went from being the front runner for Jack Adams to not having a job.
He got Merled. He got Merled.
I didn't bet it. I didn't bet that one, but I talked about it enough.
on the opposite spectrum of the NHL right now. There's some teams lighting it up. Murley's squad is unreal. The Vegas Golden Knights are doing something right now that they're making look easy, but is very difficult, and that is just running over teams and coming in depth, and they look exactly like the Vegas team who won the Cup 2 years ago, and they're firing on all cylinders. Merles, what have you seen biggest factor in this dominance, and maybe one thing that you could be worried about when you're looking at one of the best teams, if not the best team in the league right now?
Yeah, so I got them at 18-1 to win the Cup, and right now on DraftKings they're down to 12-1, so I'm happy with that. They just look bigger, stronger than all these other teams when I'm watching. They're healthy. I was in an argument with somebody at Sluggers last night about it. They're like, yeah, but they lost in the first round at Dallas. I'm like, yeah, but they were all injured. They were all out of shape because they all went on that LTIR for the last month of the season. Hurdle couldn't even get around the ice because he was so tired by the end of that series. So if they can stay healthy and in shape like they are now, they're going. Eichel, Hurdle, Carlson, and then when Roy or Colasar on those fourth-line centers, there's nobody I want more. I love them.
I would imagine probably one more like a top 6 winger. That's probably what they're looking for at the deadline. I feel like they've solidified their back end. Like I like, you feel like they trust their goaltending. I know Aiden Hill's like been there, done that, and won it. Do you think that they need a little bit of help in the goaltending front? Maybe like a third valve, like when they had Quickie?
Yeah, sometimes when the Hill, like he gets me nervous. He looks like he's on rollerblades sometimes in the games. He gets out of the net, he's sliding around. But like you said, he's already won it. But he just has to make the easy saves because that Theodore, Petro, Hannafin, like these guys are just, they don't give up anything. It's easy to watch them. It's easy to bet on them because they play such a solid game. I love them. I love this team.
You would have to imagine they're eyeing one more winger for that Stanley Cup run.
Toews.
I mean, we talked about that. Is there any other names that come to mind of guys coming up on deals where you think that they could add in order to put themselves over the edge?
Who's gonna get a haul is Granlund in San Jose. If they don't re-sign him, and they did work with San Jose last year, getting Hurdle, maybe that's a guy that they're looking at. I don't know, though, because what I see, though, is Merles, you were ranting and raving to me the other night when we were talking Edmonton and Vegas and that what will be that second-round matchup, I believe. Eichel's at a different level. Eichel he had a year in Buffalo with 82 points to get another 78-point year. He's had so many injuries. I think now it's like, oh, my God. He's got his cup. He's healthy. He's happy in Vegas. Yeah. And you're seeing dominance. I mean, he's going to smash, knock on wood, stays healthy, smash his all-time career points high. He's leading that team. Merles, you said because you don't miss a Golden Knights game. You said every shift he's creating scoring chance.
There's a chance every time. And then this, like Stone, he doesn't look like he's good, but he might be one of the best players. Like he's always where he needs to be. He's unreal. He finishes everything. He's got that big giant stick. Those guys are buzzing. Yeah, Eichel's just flying. He's faster than everybody right now. And if you remember back when he was number 2 pick to McDavid, there was talks of 1 and 2. Like these guys are pretty similar. And now he's finally looking like that level.
Yeah, he's in the flow state right now. He's just feeling.
Yeah, it's just crazy to live somewhere where you're that happy and then have the cup. So that takes off like all this different pressure. And it's like we talk, the off ice happiness truly matters. And he's just finally not finally, because he's been dominant before, but this year it's something else. It's something different that we've seen from him. Maybe in the run to the cup in the final that you saw this, but now it's like, holy shit, like every shift he's dominating. And then what we talked about, Detroit's goal and Edvinsson and Seider and Pelika, the Swedish kid, if he comes over and turns into the player we think, they have 3 dominant defensemen. Like you got Hannafin, you got Petro, and you got Theodore. And it's wild. And we talked to Cam Fowler. That'll come up in a couple minutes. And he even mentions like Theodore, like they knew he was good, but they didn't know he was this good. And he's grown into just a dominant force on another ridiculous contract for that team. So Vegas right now, they are set to do work again. And it does suck that them and the Oilers are going to have to play in the second round. That's a kick in the dick. That should be the conference final. So going to the other thing, the other side of the league, back to the stinkers, back to the bums, back to the disappointments. We're back to New York City and the goddamn Rangers, guys. I think
they're last in the Metro right now.
They might be a lottery team by this all being said and done. Shesterkin's now on the IR. The only thing they had, Shesterkin. Kreider's getting scratched. It's like, holy shit, guys. Pasha and I were saying, have you ever seen a team pretty fucking close to the Stanley Cup fall off like this?
I didn't like my prediction from last year at the start of the year with them missing playoffs and Shesterkin getting fed up with what was in front of them. We should have just played that clip for this year. I would have been bang on. This has been, they've fallen off a cliff. They went from fucking winning the regular season to the fact that you said they're probably going to be a lottery team. They got no mojo going right now. At this point, you got to think that the relationship with Kreider's fractured and he's going to be out of town. And they're going to maybe move off of him and then a few other pieces. This might look like a completely different roster from the team that won the President's Trophy 2 years removed by the start of next year. This is fucking nuts.
Has Mika been scratched yet?
He got moved off the power play. That's all he was good at.
That's worse than getting scratched. If you're Shesterkin and they trade Trouba, and what if they trade Kreider? If you're moving on from these guys and then you just sign a huge deal on a team that is looking different than when you came into the season, are you pissed off? Or
so I think yes, and there's probably like, oh my god, like what are we gonna do? Grinelli, giving him credit, you made the point to me, like you could turn it around pretty quick there, I think, if you make some of the right moves, because guys would love to sign there. They would. It's the New York Rangers. Like you're getting free agents now. I don't think you could build now. You don't really want to build through just free agency. But if Drury makes some correct moves and really they can get this thing turned around because of Shesterkin, I think. Now it's all about who are we trading? Who have we decided is a part of this? Is it only Shesterkin? Is every other player like open and available? I mean, Lafreniere's just been signed. Probably not him. He's young. You've seen the skill, but he's been brutal since his contract extension. Trocheck's a fucking beast. He's like a guy you can win with. Maybe you want to keep him. Team's going to be calling for him. After that, I don't know. Do you ever look to deal Fox? He's actually been pretty solid, like lately, especially, even as the team sucked. I don't know. Now you see what will happen. But if the correct moves are made, I don't think that this could be like, holy shit, like the next 5 years, the Rangers are going to be trash.
I heard that Drury would do bad things to get JT Miller. I keep hearing that Rangers JT Miller connection. I think it sucks that after last pod when we recorded, which was about 9 or 10 days ago, that the JT Miller press conference, the day after the game that Pasta said he wouldn't answer questions, he basically came out and said that I could ask PD to come out here right now and we'd finish the interview together. So it seems like they've squashed that from a surface level for like the media perspective. Don't know how fractured it still is inside the locker room, but it seems like they're going to be professionals about it. But what do you guys think about that whole thing?
I think Millsy being a North American kid, like he's answering more of the questions with that whole thing. And a guy that he's a great teammate. I played with Millsy. He's never going to say anything to the media and kind of throw his teammate under the bus. But whether there is something going on, who knows? I mean, there's always something going on with a team. There's 25 different type of personalities in the locker room. Not everybody's going to. Have you ever been on
a team where it was that inflammatory? And do you think it's just that inflammatory because it's Vancouver? Like, have you ever been on a squad, Jans, where like that's happening?
Yeah, for sure. The guys don't get along. Yeah, definitely.
Publicly, where it's being talked about in the media, like
no, not publicly.
Not even remotely close, like something like.
Where people are talking about it, like they're not talking about it. You know what I mean? It's like the media, like Millsy, I think said it. He's like, you guys are the ones talking about it. It's not us. So I think it could be one of those things where it could be nothing and they're fine, like he said.
And just quickly, I think it's like gone past the point of it being nothing. And Biz, I'm with you. Like this being Vancouver, definitely. Like if this is another team, maybe any team in Canada, but another market, like you're not hearing all the things we're hearing. But I think the point now is like, all right, whether it's this year or in the summer, one of them's getting traded, Miller or Pettersson. Pettersson's younger, right? So you think, oh, it'd be Miller. But then to see Alvin's quotes about Pettersson, it's kind of crazy. He did a question and answer or sit down, and he said, PD has shown up to this point that he is an extremely talented, quality player that could and should be a number one center. I believe in him. I believe that he's capable. But he needs to mature and understand that there are certain expectations and it does not get easier. And you need to face the music when things don't go well. Is a trade possible? I guess I would say anything's possible. Dude,
I think that's well said. I think that's well.
That's wild to hear. That's wild to hear.
I think that's a public message to a player that you handed that contract over to, saying, listen, everything to this point, fine. But if you want to be a leader and you want to get paid like that, and if you are going to be a number one center in the NHL that has any aspirations of lifting a Stanley Cup, you have to have that kind of dog mentality and understand how to manage these types of situations. He has not shown that. That's why I was shocked that he got the number that he got. Because when you get a number like that, you're being paid that high, you got to be like a Crosby type or a guy who's like leading the charge in practice every day. You're the one eating all the bullets in the media. Like, you need to be that type of guy, and he has not shown that he can be that player. So now, at the fact that he said this, hopefully Petey doesn't read that and get poopy pants where he goes the opposite way, where all of a sudden he's the first guy showing up every day to the rink. He's the first guy in line in the drills. He's battling his dick off in practice, and then that's going to transfer over to games. But if you're just going to think that you can just be a piece and then get paid that much and everything's just going to be smooth sailing and that you're not going to be potentially up for trade, that ain't going to fucking work. And that's why.
Be the horse. Gotta be the horse.
And that's why I would assume if you talk to a lot of hockey people, they would say, maybe Millsy's a little bit too high, too low sometimes, and there's a bit of a wave to be rode. But if you're thinking of winning a Stanley Cup, you're taking JT Miller over Elias Pettersson right now. I don't care how high end you think his skill level is. You're taking JT Miller because he's a fucking dog. Am I crazy?
No, you're not.
Any hockey guy saying, see what you can get for Pettersson and let's build around JT, even though he's only got 3 or 4 years left on that contract.
That's what that quote to me sounded like they would be more willing to trade him than
correct.
Than Millsy.
I know. And my thing is like, okay, if you do trade Miller, like, you thought the pressure was high before, dude. Now it's like,
correct.
Hey, buddy, the guy that was stopping you from playing so well is gone. So let's see what you do now. And if you don't do it now, what's the reasoning? What now is incorrect? What now is happening behind the scenes that doesn't allow you to perform at the highest level? That is like, you want to see pressure, dude. Get rid of Miller.
And people think like we're, in some cases, we might be looking too much into this. I feel like part of the issue stemmed where the relationship between JT and Pettersson had been restored a little bit. I think there was a little bit of resentment of how Pettersson was approaching kind of since that contract he got last year, especially going into playoffs, given the fact that they brought Edmonton to Game 7. If Pettersson's playing at the top of his game and not like, I mean, you saw the video of him on the fucking scooter in Vancouver, like buzzing around and just kind of like he's like looking off into space like a lost little puppy. Like, why? What are you laughing at? If I'm JT Miller and this is your opportunity to go for a cup and you've won the Pacific Division, I'd be fucking pissed off too and tell him in the locker room, let's fucking go. Fuck you. You got your money, bitch. We're fucking trying to win here. No? You don't think that added resentment? What's that?
No scooters trying to win.
Do you think with JT's mentality that built up resentment towards Pettersson? That whole situation come playoff time last year. He was invisible in playoffs last year.
Yeah, he was. And they were up 3-2 in that series. Crazy stuff.
He looked like Bambi out there. He'd get knocked off the puck like that. If you blew on him, he'd get knocked off the puck.
And Vancouver right now, it's even scarier. Quinn Hughes is week to week. Oh, one of the most dominant players this season in the NHL is week to week. And a team in Vancouver who needs help on defense. And I think they were probably in the mix for our next guest. And instead of Vancouver grabbing another puck-moving defenseman to help, St. Louis went out and grabbed him.
Yoink.
His 1,000th game was the Winter Classic. He had 2 goals. Hell of a guy. So right now, I think it's time to go to Cam Fowler, the leading all-time point scorer in goals, assists, points, and game-winning goals for the Anaheim Ducks. Now a St. Louis Blue, Cam Fowler.
Hey, guys, before we go any further, if you're looking to get back to feeling your best, Rose Sparks might just be the solution you've been waiting for. It's a fast-acting treatment designed to help you improve your performance, if you know what I mean, so you and your partner can enjoy better intimacy. Before getting started, you'll complete an easy online visit to ensure Rose Sparks is right for you. With guidance from a licensed healthcare provider, once prescribed, Rose Sparks dissolve under your tongue, getting into your bloodstream faster than a traditional pill. Once the medication dissolves, Rosparks can start working in 15 minutes on average, so you don't have to wait that long time to start feeling the difference. Whether you're in the moment or planning ahead, Rosparks helps you control, giving you the confidence to perform when it counts. Ready to improve your experience? Visit trygetroman.com today and see how Rosparks can help you feel like yourself again. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law but are not FDA approved. For full safety information, go to ro.co/safety info.
It's an absolute pleasure to be in Wayne Gretzky's basement right outside Wrigley Field, getting ready for the Winter Classic, interviewing brand new St. Louis Blues defenseman Cam Fowler. Thanks so much for joining the show, bud.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to be here.
We appreciate it. And we were just chatting beforehand, but a crazy thing for you. I mean, you spent your whole career in Anaheim, drafted in 2010, I believe. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Leading all-time goal scorer, assists, points, game-winning goals for defensemen with the Anaheim Ducks, but traded to St. Louis. How's it going? Was it hard for you to kind of hear that news, or was it more excitement to get somewhere else?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of both. I mean, 14 years in one place. Obviously, I was really comfortable there. Started my family, kind of grew up in Anaheim, so leaving that was really hard. But at the same time, I think it was just time for a fresh start for me. I think just in my career and where I was at professionally, I think it was just time to turn the page and jump in with a new team, a new organization. So it was a little bit of both. I was really excited and then, obviously sad and nervous because I had, created so many great memories there in Anaheim.
I think for a while your name had been out there, right? Like a good, really good puck moving defenseman, great contract. Was it hard for you the past couple of years when your name was in the mix? Like, when is this going to happen? Is it going to happen? You know what I mean? Like playing, it's difficult to hear your name as in the rumor mill a lot.
Yeah, I think luckily I got to a point where I could kind of tell what was real and what was fake. So even when your name's kind of being tossed out there, I think I had a pretty good idea of where I was at still. So I don't think it really turned into something that became real until kind of this season, honestly. Like there was a little bit of chatter, but I don't think anything really came up that was significant until this season. And then this season, I'd say it was a little challenging just because I knew there was a chance that something was going to happen, but I didn't know the timeline of it. Yeah. So that part was difficult, but as pros, you just kind of have to block it out and try and do the best you can.
So this season was the first time you started hearing that noise a little bit more?
I'd say it was, it was something that became very real, where to the point where in my own brain, I was thinking, okay, there'd be nights where I was thinking about walking into a new locker room and like how that would work out. So that was the first time in my career where it really became something that was, okay, there's a possibility that this could really happen, and now I have to start kind of wrapping my head around everything.
Did you? I was going to ask if did you surf at all when you were playing in Anaheim? Like, did you get involved in any of that? Like, on the Zegers program?
No, I'm pretty afraid of the ocean, so I never really got into that too much. I tried a couple times, but I'd say it wasn't really for me.
Just like shark attacks and stuff?
Yeah, you're not really sure what's down there, like
exactly.
The tides, the currents.
And I got kind of knocked around pretty good when I was young, like by a wave, and I think it just
PTSD.
Yeah, it kind of screwed me up for the rest of my life.
That's why you got asked to get traded to a landlocked state. I don't want to be near an ocean.
That's right. That's right.
14 years. Yeah, the request was in. Couldn't get out of it. That's crazy. You mentioned family. How many kids you got?
Just one. I have a 2.5-year-old Charlie, and then my wife's expecting our second one, so she's due in March.
Oh wow! So that's another aspect of the trade. It's like, oh my God, I got to get out. I got to get us a house. I got to figure out. She's got to pack everything up.
Yeah. That's all that stuff, like what people deal with behind the scenes when they get traded. I think it's it doesn't really get talked about that often, but there's so much that you have to sort out, as a player trying to get your family sorted. And then obviously, 7 months pregnant, there's a lot going on with her. So there's a lot to balance, but honestly, I can't say enough about like the Blues organization making me feel comfortable and everyone just trying to do the best they can to make sure that we're transitioning smoothly.
And you said that St. Louis didn't have anyone that you knew that well. I remember when I was traded to Anaheim, same thing. And it's a little tougher. Like if you had one buddy that you'd played with in Anaheim for a while. Mm-hmm. So even though you've played so long and you've been a veteran, it's still like you're like a rookie going into the room.
Yeah, it really is. And like you said, I knew Torrey Krug and Justin Falk a little bit. Played against Kruger growing up, and then Justin Falk, we've done some USA hockey stuff, but not like a true relationship. So it was a brand new experience for me. And I mean, you kind of, you don't want to step on any toes and stuff walking in. So, I was, I guess relatively quiet guy in general, but I'm just trying to feel it out.
Or nothing.
No, I didn't make a big, splash or anything when I wanted to get the lay of the land and get to know the guys. But honestly, when I got traded to, we played 5 games in 7 nights, and the first 2 were back to back. We were in Dallas and then home Sunday. So I feel like I kind of just got thrown right into it.
Yeah,
and that was maybe the best thing for me, and rookie party too.
Oh, there we go.
No way. How did they squeeze that in the first 7 days with 5 games? That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, the schedule was in, like, I hadn't seen a schedule like that honestly in my career, and that's the point that I was traded at to them. So we played a lot of hockey, and then we were in Florida. We played Tampa on Thursday, Florida Friday, and then we didn't play Detroit until Monday.
So 11 on Saturday. Which club did you guys? Did you guys go to 11?
Yeah, that's right.
That was a pretty good guess.
Yeah, you nailed it. Yeah.
You mentioned playing with, what was it, Falk with the U.S. program?
Yeah.
So I understand you're a trader. You were born in Canada, and then all of a sudden you're playing for the Team USA. What happened there? Born in Windsor, Ontario. You ended up playing junior there, but how did you end up like an American citizen? Yeah,
so I was born in Windsor, but I only stayed there for a year. My dad got transferred to Michigan after that, and then he's Canadian. He grew up in Newfoundland. My mom is American, so I have the dual citizenship, but pretty much grew up in Michigan, so that's really all I
your
knew.
Alliance.
Were you a Little Caesars guy?
Honey baked,
the awesome
eaters.
rivalry. I love that.
I used to call them the cake eaters.
And
They
then-
had all the
Still
matching
do.
gear.
Who was? They were cake eaters?
Well, they just had all the fancy gear. I think like a couple of the kids had the brand new Fedorov Nike skates when I was playing.
Really?
They spanked us 7-1. They had Hensick and Skiba were the 2 studs, and they ended up being pretty good pro players.
TJ Hensick.
Hensick had a pretty good, ended up having a pretty good career.
Oh yeah,
maybe more so in the American League, but still highly skilled. So your father's from Newfoundland, so you must be a good drinker. You must be able to slam your pops back. Any relation to Terry Ryan or Terry Ryan Sr.?
No. I'd love to get back. Actually, he hasn't taken me to Newfoundland. I'd love to see it one day, but
beautiful.
Yeah, I'm sure it is, but I'd like to have a few every once in a while. I wouldn't say I'm a crazy drinker or anything, but hold my
That's
own.
how
Maybe
you play 1,000 games. Well, not yet. It's coming up at the Winter Classic, which is probably the first time that's ever happened.
Incredible.
Yeah. Thank you. It's crazy just how everything works out, and then the trade and everything, and being traded that day and playing in Dallas that night. Kind of set everything up to be able to make this happen. So just funny how things work, but it's pretty amazing. I'm really looking forward to it.
What do you credit your longevity?
Just
staying healthy and just like you big in the off season with the training. Or...
Yeah, I think there's a lot that goes into it. I think as my career's gone on, I've kind of leaned more into like injury prevention. So I think when you're younger, you're lifting a lot of weights, you're doing the back squats, the cleans and everything. And I've gone away from that as I've gotten older, just because I realized that, I wanted to stay as healthy as I could. And that's what was going to help me in my career. So, and then I think just my skating, I think just the way that the game is being played these days, I think as long as you can skate, like you're always going to have a place in the league. And that's something that's been a strength of mine since I was younger. So I've just been leaning into that too as much as I can.
Through what, like working with someone individually, or you were just naturally always a good skater?
Yeah, honestly, it's naturally kind of always been there since I was young. I've done some power skating stuff, but it's more just kind of agility and like quick changing
twitch.
direction, like fast twitch stuff. I've done a lot of that off the ice the last few years, and I feel like it's kind of worked its way onto the ice and transitioned into that. Yeah.
Especially older in your career, it's hard. I mean, I lost a lot of that, and like your hips get tighter. And you talked about more how people have segued away from like the hardcore cleans and all the back squatting. I think that kind of put a damper on my career a little bit. I know for Whit
that
too.
was it.
Yeah, partly.
And your hands.
Those two.
Hockey sense.
I couldn't breathe because my nose was closed shut because I kept getting my face caved in. Anyway.
But I mean, you mentioned like even as a young kid, skating was a strength.
Yeah.
So as you're coming up and then you kind of realize, all right, I got a chance to be on the national program. And growing up in Michigan, it must have been nice that was it in Ann Arbor still with you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
like,
it's only 45 minutes away from where I grew up.
oh, that's great. So you didn't even live with Billets, right?
I did though.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah. We had all these guys coming in from Alaska and Texas, and I just felt like if I stayed at home, I would have missed out on
Yeah, that's
a
true.
lot. So yeah, so I lived with Jerry D'Amigo and with the Billet family out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so when you were 14 or 15, was that your goal, like the national program? You start thinking about it then, right? In 2 years now, like I want to be there.
Yeah, for sure. I think, kind of playing minor hockey to have the chance to play at the national team was always the goal, and such a great honor for us playing in Michigan. So that was always the plan, was to try and go there and develop and train. And it's just kind of like a hockey factory there at that program. And then the goal was to always get a D1 scholarship and play. And then as things went on, draft stuff and where you were slotted, like it changed for me, but the program was always at the top of my list as the number one goal.
So you were a guy, like I remember hearing about you, could have picked where you wanted to go on a full ride, but you go to Windsor. Yeah. And it was kind of crazy at the time. I mean, it's obviously happened before.
Well, there was confusion with where, like something with the school, right?
Notre Dame, right?
Yeah. So I was committed to Notre Dame. Yeah. And then it was towards the end of my senior year, and I still had another year to play because I was getting drafted with the 92s.
Oh, you're after September?
Late birth year.
Okay.
And so I was trying to figure out what my best option was. I didn't know if I wanted to go to school, if I wanted to just go all in with hockey and go to the OHL. So I was kind of on the fence, and then so Kitchener had my rights and they put me back in the OHL draft because they weren't sure what I was going to do yet. And then Windsor ended up taking me in the first round, I guess, of the draft after that. So there was a little bit of confusion on like if I was trying to
go to Windsor,
like if it was set up to go to Windsor. Yeah.
Because kids do say like, I'm only going if it's this team.
Yeah.
And a Louis Vuitton duffel with some money in it.
Yeah. There was none of that. Honestly, Kitchener was an awesome place to go to. It's just the way that it ended up working out. And then obviously Windsor was loaded. So like I can see how the optics might look bad, but it was never anything like that. I just ended up deciding a little bit later that I wanted to go the junior route, and Windsor took a flyer on me, and it ended up working.
And they had a pretty like sick roster as it stood, right?
They were unbelievable, and they won the Memorial Cup the year before, and then we won it the year that I went there too. So they went back to back.
Wow. Did you going to Windsor have anything to do with the fact that you were born there? Like, was that just random?
It was pretty random, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah, it was more about trying to play in like an NHL type schedule and get used to that, because they, if you play college, you might only get 30 games or so, and I was trying to prepare myself as best I could for the NHL, and so I think we played with the World Juniors that year. I ended up playing over 100 games. But just random the way that it worked out. They had a great team, new building, but it didn't really have a whole lot to do with me being born there.
Who helped you make that decision? Because 17, 18 years old, that's a life-altering
You don't know what to
decision.
do.
Like,
Yeah.
You're asking your parents, agent, friends. Like,
Yeah, I was leaning on basically everybody in my life to try to help me out with that decision. At the end of the day, my parents said that, like, this is your life, this is your decision. We're gonna let you handle it. And I'd say up to this point, still, it was one of the hardest things I've ever done because, you know, like you said, I'm 17, 18. I have a full scholarship to an amazing school where if hockey doesn't work out, I have something to lean back on. You know, I have everything with that. And then so to put kind of all my faith and all my eggs in that basket and hope that the NHL worked out was really hard for me. But thankful and grateful that everything ended up working out.
Jans has a decommitment story that he shared on the podcast. What was it like for? What was it like? Oh, you heard it? Okay,
I heard, yeah.
What was it like for you? Did you get yelled at on the phone, or was it more cordial?
It was cordial, but I'd say there was there was a lot of disappointment on the other side. Like it was kind of like when your dad, you know, says that, you know, he's not mad, he's disappointed. Like I felt a lot of that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's got to be hard, man, as a young kid getting that call.
Yeah, I remember I was in my billet house in Ann Arbor, and I was pacing the room because I just didn't want to make that phone call.
And Jeff Jackson, right?
Jeff
Intimidating guy.
Yeah, I was already like pretty scared of him. Not scared, but like, yeah, he's an intimidating guy. So I was so nervous to make that phone call, and it took hours before I mustered up the courage to dial the number. And
Did you ever consider maybe having one of your teammates do it?
No,
you were gonna man up and do it yourself.
I guess I never thought about putting it on somebody else.
Yeah, just maybe.
I guess I could have.
Yeah,
but.
well, so one of the guys played rock paper scissors, right? The brothers.
Yeah, the brothers did.
The first who had to.
The Devons.
Yeah. When you got to Anaheim, though, like unreal leadership in that locker room. You had Gretzky there. Harris was still there. So it must have been fun going into a locker room with all those unreal leaders.
Oh, it was unbelievable. Like Gretzky's still one of my best friends today. And then we had Pears, we had Saku, Timu, like unbelievable guys and obviously unbelievable players. So just the way that they welcomed me in at such a young age, I feel like it really helped me kind of get to where I am today. And also Scotty Niedermeyer and his family, they had me live with them my first year. Yeah. So, and he had
retired?
He was retired.
Okay.
Yeah.
That year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they brought me in, and he has 4 boys too. So I was a 5th boy. Like the house was insane.
Pull-out game week, eh?
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. But I think they knew kind of the adjustment that it was going to be to play at 18. And if I could have meals and stuff, like I didn't have to worry about that. It made such a big difference.
Back to the draft, because you never played an AHL game, but like you were picked, was it 12th?
12th
overall. So like, did you think you were going to go a little bit higher? Was that like you slipping in your mind? And you never could have imagined 40 points that next year in the NHL. Like you came in, it was so easy.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It wasn't easy at all, but I think the whole draft experience was difficult too, because you have a lot of people telling you kind of where they expect you to go. So you build all that up in your head, and then anything can happen on draft day. So I think, technically I was slotted in top 3, top 5. And then
yeah, I remember that
every pick kind of after 5, like it just felt like an eternity. And
like
then
Aaron Rodgers style, shaking your head.
Yeah. Well, and then then it kind of became a story, and then the cameras focusing in on you. So I don't want to make it out to be this huge thing, because 12th overall is still awesome. But when the media kind of shifts it into, okay, this guy's slipping, as an 18-year-old kid, it can be hard. So that was difficult, but then obviously that all goes away. Anaheim picked me, and
also how you're kind of not in this media circus too. You end up going to somewhere where it's probably a lot more chill, and you can just kind of get lost and worry about the things that matter.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I think being out there, and it's a great hockey market, great fans, but you don't have the same sort of spotlight as you would a, original six team or Canada or whatever it may be. So I think that helped out a lot too with me kind of making like that transition into the NHL.
It's pretty crazy, Biz, looking at this. Sorry, like,
oh, no problem.
I remember, top 3, top 5, and they messed up. Those teams messed up. Looking at the draft now,
a lot of nobodies.
Yeah, like you should have probably gone third. I sorry to interrupt you, Biz.
No.
Yeah.
Was living with Niedermeyer, was there an option there? Or it was kind of just like you're doing that?
Yeah, I'd say it was highly recommended.
Okay.
Yeah, but I never considered anything else. Like Scotty Niedermeyer opens his home to you, you're gonna go. Yeah.
Was he talking hockey with you, or was he kind of just?
He's so quiet.
Your crossword puzzles.
Yeah, he was such a quiet guy. Like I would talk to him, I'd ask him things, but he would never kind of push anything on me. Like if I had any questions, either like life or hockey, he was always there to answer them. But you know him. He's just a quiet guy.
Norm.
Yeah, Norm. Yeah, he's.
Call him Norm.
Yeah, everyone called him Norm.
Yeah,
because he looks like a Norm.
I don't know. I actually don't know why. All I know is that he'd play 30 minutes and literally have a little.
Yeah, he wouldn't sweat.
Quarter size like sweat stain on his shirt. It was insane.
It's related to like a TV show or something.
Oh, Cheers, from Cheers.
Is it from Cheers?
Well, that's Norm from Cheers. Maybe that was it. I don't know.
There's a story behind it, but I don't know exactly what
You're not allowed to tell it?
No, I don't know.
Oh.
I don't even know. Yeah. I was too scared to call him Norm. So I never
Mr.
did.
Niedermeyer?
Mr. Niedermeyer, Scotty.
What do you remember about Timu? Like, because when I got traded there, I was like, this guy's the biggest legend. Like, his smile at the rink, and nothing rattles him.
Man, he's like the all-time guy. Yeah, he was, and just honestly, the person he is, like, for how good he is, his career that he had, like, he's such a down-to-earth person, and I was nobody in the league, and he always took such great care of me, made sure that everything was good. Like he'd ask me about my family, and he's just an unbelievable guy. And he was always tan, like his hair was always. He's an unreal golfer. Like you talk about a guy that has it all. It's him.
Was Getsy's he was still dominant when you got there, or was dominant then? Like I just loved playing with him and being an offensive defenseman.
Yeah.
Coming down the wing, no look, all of a sudden it's on your stick. Like,
yeah.
Those 40 points probably had a lot to do with him that year.
Oh, a ton. Yeah. He was such an amazing player, and to be that big and have that vision, I feel like is so rare. And in his prime, like with Randy, the playoff runs that we had, he was playing like 24, 25 minutes a night. He was just a horse, and he was physical. He would fight. Like he was the whole package. Yeah.
I think it was, you guys had that, was it a second round series against Edmonton when Kessler was on the team still too?
Yeah, that was the second round when we had the comeback in game 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were down 3-0 with like 3 minutes left. Tied it up and then won in overtime.
So that was probably the farthest you'd ever been with the team, right?
We made it to 2 conference finals.
Yeah.
When I was there, we lost to Chicago in 7, and we lost to Nashville in 7.
Oh, those were in 7 both those years?
Yeah.
Was that the Chicago series when Andrew Shaw headbutted the puck in?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Called it back.
Yeah.
Oh, so you guys were right there, man.
Yeah, like
those are some good teams.
Looking back on it, you always think, okay, the team's going to be good. We'll be back again. And it's so crazy. I only had the 2 conference finals, and both in game 7. It was just, it's unbelievable how that stuff works out. But we always felt like we were right there.
Yeah.
You need everything to go right, in order to win. And we were so close, but didn't get it done.
What was your relationship like with Carlisle? He's an interesting kid.
How many Norrises you got? That's what he used to say.
Yeah. He was, I think he was really hard on the younger guys, but also it helped me kind of develop a thick skin kind of. I wasn't I wasn't used to being coached that hard. So at times it was tough, but he played. He was obviously a really good defenseman, so he understood the game, but I think he enjoyed to kind of lean on the younger guys a little bit. So
too much.
Who was your idol growing up?
Nick Lidstrom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess Michigan guy.
Yeah.
Playing against him was mine. I talked about it on a recent episode in warm-ups, first time just staring at him.
Oh, yeah.
You like that as well?
Yeah, because my first NHL game was in Detroit at Joe Louis.
Me too.
And I was so starstruck just looking at him over there, like playing. I was so nervous, but growing up in Michigan, like any chance I had to watch him play, it was such a treat to watch him. Like similar to Scotty, it seemed like he never broke a sweat, was just always in the right spot. Unbelievable guy. Like I got to meet him too, so he was always somebody I really looked up to.
First game in your hometown, how many people do you have? You must have been playing for free that night.
Yeah, I think I was. It was probably close to maybe 30 or so.
Wow.
Yeah. Actually, could have been a lot worse.
You guys win?
So, no, we got spanked.
No,
yeah,
wings.
4-0. Yeah, 4-0.
When we were looking at some of the hockey DB, I was confused as to like why Anaheim moved off of so many of their good D that they had in their system at one point. Like they had Montour, they had
Manson.
Manson. The list goes on. Lindholm.
Yeah, Theodore,
Montour.
Lindholm.
Like
yeah.
what? Like were you like, what the fuck are we doing here? When
Yeah, I mean, looking back on it, it is crazy the talent that they had, and I think it always kind of ended up where those guys were either on expiring deals or, the team wasn't where we were supposed to be, so they had the highest value at that time. So I think it's a little combination of that, but if we were able to somehow keep all those guys together, it would have been unbelievable. But I think just the way that everything shook out, and then we lost Theo, I think, to expansion, I'm pretty sure. So
Did you know he was this good?
no.
No shit.
Well, he was so raw when he was in Anaheim. You could see it, okay, he has the natural ability, the natural talent. You don't always know how it's gonna kind of unfold, but man, oh man, he's
like he got his minutes in Vegas that he hadn't gotten in Anaheim. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah, he gets his opportunity, and sometimes that's all it takes, and he just takes off. So yeah, he's turned into a hell of a player.
It must have been hard though, because you mentioned the conference finals trips, and then now you're coming into the peak of your career, and all of a sudden that's when like the team goes down a little bit. So you got that taste of like chasing a cup, and then there was a bunch of years where that's probably the part of you where it's like I am ready to move on, maybe, because like we're not where I was when I came into the league.
Yeah, I think I was spoiled because I was able to make a team at a young age, but I was also going into a great situation where the team was really good. So we had a lot of success. I think we had 5 Pacific Division championships like in a row, and we always had this taste of the playoffs, and you get used to that kind of as a player, and then when it's taken away from you, and then you have one hard year and it stacks up into 3 and then 5, it can take a toll on you kind of as a player. And obviously the team was rebuilding and building for the future, and they have some unbelievable players there now. And I think the next 5 years will be awesome for them. But just where I was at in my career, I just felt, okay, you have Jackson Lacombe, Zellweger, Mintyukov all on the left side.
Yeah.
It's maybe time to give those guys their opportunity, and I can find a situation where, just in my career, it works best for me. So that's kind of what it came down to.
I guess it's hard now because you're playing, you're on a new team, you're in it, but at some point I would think you'd look back and be like, I lead that team in every major category. Like it's really
amazing.
Like to be drafted that high and then do it for that long. Like it's an incredible thing for you to look back on, and like a legend in that organization.
better than being a bust, eh?
Yeah, no, well, I appreciate that. I don't really know when all that will kind of set in with me. I think I really enjoyed my time in Anaheim. I have amazing memories there, and I think it did get to a point where I said, okay, I feel like I've given this organization everything I have, and as scary as it might be, it's just maybe time for a change and to turn the page. But I'm very thankful for the years that I had there, and I'll always remember it fondly.
Yeah. It was actually, you brought this up before, but before we saw you, when you were younger and you grew up in the U.S., but you did have dual citizenship, was there any discussion at like 15 of 16 of being Canadian for the hockey part? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
you could have, and they, at that point, they're already seeing kids as good as you that age, like future world junior guys.
Yeah, I think it was tossed around. Like, I did have the choice or the decision, but it was never a true decision for me. I just felt like I was American.
Yeah.
So I do think, because I think it's 14 or so, like once you make it, or 16, once you make the decision.
I think it's one time you wear the jersey. That's
it? Yeah, okay. So there was some tournament in that time frame where I made the decision, but I never considered doing anything else. I just, in my mind, I was American. Yeah.
I've gotten to work with Kevin Bieksa. I knew him actually even before that. Like, what a great guy, great leader. It must have been a blast playing with him. He's a funny fucker in the locker room.
He is, yeah. He's quite the character, and he was always great to have around and was really great with me. And I think he was kind of in a position too where I feel like I'm at now. You know, he was he had so many great years in Vancouver. Like, he was. And then he comes to Anaheim, and he's trying to figure out kind of where he fits in with that leadership group and his voice and everything. And looking back on it now, I can kind of see that was something that was new for him and he was trying to get used to. But he was an unbelievable guy, tough as nails too.
Oh yeah,
like,
were you there for the jump punch against
Superman
Gudis?
punch?
I don't think was he playing for Anaheim at that?
Oh yeah,
I think he was.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
I think he did it twice when he was with Anaheim.
Maybe I wasn't playing that game then, but yeah, no, and now Goody was there in Anaheim too, captain there. Like, he talked about that too. Like, he just didn't see it coming, obviously. But Juice is he's the real deal, man. That guy is tough.
Oh, he brings
an awesome
a lot
guy.
to the locker room too.
Oh yeah,
never a dull moment.
Never a dull
Always
moment.
yapping.
Always keeping guys on their toes. Like, you know, he could just come at you at any second. You got to be ready for it, you know? So
you were there long enough where you've probably seen, because around the rinks and the practice facilities, like the junior Ducks, junior Kings, and all the youth, and how many kids come from California now that are so good. Like, were you witnessing that a little bit in terms of how much hockey was growing there?
Yeah.
Even later on as you played, forget like when Gretzky came over to California.
Yeah, for sure. I think kind of towards the early part of my career there, I think that's when it was really starting to kind of take off. And I know that the Ducks and the Kings really leaned into that in their junior programs and building new rinks and all of that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because honestly, for a while there, like, just to get ice, you know, for kids, you know, they might have to drive an hour and a half, 2 hours to get to the nearest rink there. There just wasn't much in that area. And I know that both organizations have put a lot of money and effort into growing the game for the younger kids. So I got to see a lot of that. And the junior Ducks and Kings now, I think, are both like,
they're top teams,
super competitive. So it's awesome to see that kind of spread around the country now, where it used to be, you know, the Michigan or Minnesota, like Boston, but now you got teams from all over. But those teams, the Kings and Ducks, did a great job of building that.
We'll ask a few more St. Louis questions because we feel bad because you're with the Blues and all we've talked about is.
Well, all the Blues are like, we got to buy him a 1,000 game gift now. We've known him for a week.
Oh yeah, Shenner's got to go to the team fine fund for a Rolex.
Could have been one more game.
Yeah. I know.
You mentioned all that like high end young talent in Anaheim. Who were you most impressed with your time there at the end there? Like Carlson, obviously, is a beast.
Yeah, I think people will be blown away with how good Leo will be. Yeah. Like, I think he's just scratching the surface of you know, what he can be as a player. Obviously, he's so young, but to have that size and that speed and the combination of his hands too, like how he can stick handle in tight, I think he's going to be He's going to be the real deal.
Seems like he has a great head on his shoulders too. He seemed like the best kid.
Unbelievable kid. Yeah, unbelievable kid. Which, you know, it's hard. Obviously, he's from Sweden. Like, he's coming into the NHL. That can be a lot for somebody to process. But he's got a great head on his shoulders, and they have a lot of young talent there. But Leo, I think he's going to be.
He's the guy.
He's going to be the guy. Yeah.
Monty, players coach. What's your first impressions of him? Seems like he just commands the room, and I love watching the videos when he walks in and he just it's like he takes over.
Yeah, he's been unbelievable to me so far. Everybody has, but making this decision, I really good friends with Troy Terry, who played for Monty at Denver, so he knew a lot about him, and he said he had nothing but nice things to say about Monty, and that's kind of lived up to everything he said so far. Just the way he commands the room. I feel like he understands what it means to be a player. He gets it with our time management and meetings, and there's so much that goes into coaching, but I think he's got it all. So I've been super impressed with him, and I feel super comfortable playing for him too.
I've heard a lot of players say that. Do you mean like not having crazy long meetings and keeping them like 8 to 10 minutes and that's it? ADHD, we're out of there. Don't have to pay attention too long.
Yeah, I just think over the course of a season, you know, if you have half-hour meeting or whatever, like they all stack up, and you might lose a little bit of interest. Like, as you just 82 games is a lot, and sometimes it can be a lot of information to process. So he's just 7-8 clips, like things that really matter to him, and he rifles through them, and then everything feels efficient in the way that he does things.
No wasted time.
No wasted time.
That's
good.
When you met with him, what did he tell you? Like, what do I expect out of you? This is what I need from you. Was there some sort of meeting for that, like your role?
Yeah. So he called me, actually. I was on my way to the airport in Columbus to meet the team in Dallas, and he just kind of just said, you know, we're excited to have you. I know things have been crazy today. We'll talk when you get in. And then I met the guys and everything. I had a meeting with the D coach about kind of systems and all that stuff. And then Monty just grabbed me super quick, because I think he understood kind of what my brain was going through. Like, yeah, it's going a million miles an hour. And he just grabbed me quickly and said, hey, listen, you know, I know there's a lot going on, but you're here for a reason. Just trust the player that you are. Like, we believe in who you are as a player, so just go out and have fun and trust yourself. Like, that was his only message to me.
And you have, I think, 5 points in 8 games. Like, it started off well, though, playing a lot.
Yeah, it's been good. You know, I get to play with Parayko, who I think is super underrated.
Yeah, he's having a great year.
And like that combination of size and still to be able to move the puck and contribute offensively like he does, like, is so rare.
He's a mutant.
I could not believe how big he was when I first saw him.
Ivan
like,
Drago.
Yeah, like I just met him in the locker room and I was staring up at him.
Yeah, I sat on the glass when the Blues played the Bruins. Schenner scored an OT, and I same thing. Like, I'd watched him, never played against him. I was like, holy shit! Like, he's like 6'7", isn't he?
Yeah, he's huge. Yeah,
I think there was a bit of an adjustment for him when he had to go from like being maybe the second guy when
Petro
was there to all of a sudden he was the main guy having to get those line matchups. There was a bit of an adjustment period, but I've really found over the last like maybe 18 months that he's really coming to his own. Like, it's crazy how fast he can move out there. He's like a gazelle.
Yeah, I've been super impressed with him, and there's a lot of chemistry that goes in with your D partner too. So luckily we've been able to kind of get that going I think we've played the last 5 or 6 games together. But yeah, just back to your point, like his size, and there were a few times last night the puck was dumped into his corner and he just grabbed it and took it out of the zone himself.
Yeah,
which to be able to do at that size is just like, he's the whole package. So yeah, it's been a good start for me. It's been a good opportunity. Minutes have been good. I'm getting the opportunity on special teams too, so I'm grateful. And yeah, it's a great group of guys. So we're looking forward to trying to get on a little roll here and make a playoff push.
Must be nice to get traded before the deadline too, because you're getting to know your group a little bit more. Because I got traded at the deadline, and there's 20 games left or whatever, and it's just like a sprint to the playoffs. And I feel like you got the rookie party with the guys, so you get to know them a little bit more. It must be nice.
Yeah, it is. I think, and who knows how things would have worked out too if. The longer the season went on, I obviously knew that something was going to happen. So like how that would have
maybe wouldn't
affected my play or something too. So I think to kind of jump into it when we did was a good time. And the last few weeks have been crazy with all of that and the rookie party, then back to California for the holidays, back to St. Louis. It's just been a whirlwind, but the hockey part and all of that has been awesome for me, and it's just been a really good experience, and I'm happy that it happened when it did, and I got the chance to meet everybody and just jump right into it.
Will you sell the place in California? Could that be a place you live someday when you will you retire, or is it just
He hates the ocean?
Yeah. You know what? It was it was an awesome place to live. I think we are gonna sell it and
gonna make some money on that one, I bet.
I hope so. Yeah. It should. We've been lucky with real estate out there. I think just Orange County in general is just booming, but
crazy out there.
Yeah.
It's an like Newport's probably top 5 places to live in the States.
Yeah. I think, the living, like everything about the setup there was unbelievable. And I think teams might not get to see Newport when they come to Anaheim, but if you ever have the chance to go out there, like Newport is next level. The food,
it's clean. The people are nice.
It's clean. The weather, it's an unbelievable. So we might end up back there. I'm not sure, but we are gonna, I think, sell that place, and then I just think it might be too expensive to live there long term, like retire there. But we'll see.
Who were the MVPs at rookie party? Like
Neighbors for sure.
Really? Yeah.
Oh, he's
Neighbors. He's got a lot of old school in him. Nice. Jakey does.
Well, I saw a clip where I think he was doing sign language for like a way for the NHL to show like how to watch the Winter Classic if you're deaf or something. I texted him. I'm like, Jakey, this is an interesting look. He's like, that was right after rookie party. I couldn't even see.
Yeah, no, it was a good time. Jakey was up there. Tyler Tucker, he was another one. Yeah, we had a good time.
Okay.
We had a good time.
Well, buddy, it's been an unreal run for you. It keeps going on. And first Winter Classic, first outdoor game? Or did you play in that?
I played a stadium series at Dodger Stadium in 2014, which was awesome.
Yeah.
But obviously a little different here, like with the weather and everything. So it's going to be incredible.
Yeah, well, congrats on everything, and thanks for stopping by, man.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much to Cam Fowler. Congrats once again. What a way to get your 1,000th game in the league. And it was pretty cool, too. I saw the Anaheim Ducks last night against the Devils. They wore in Cam Fowler 1,000th game T-shirts. So they showed some respect to their former teammate.
Thanks,
that obviously those were made before the trade. And then I think
way to catch that, Biz.
Wait, what do you mean?
I fucking mentioned that earlier, and if I did that, you'd be jumping down my throat.
I was waiting. I thought he was fucking with us.
Yeah, we got Wiz over here fucking things up again.
You know what, boys? I gotta own that one. Shit, I love when you do that, so I can be so mean to you. So you could say something even meaner.
But
you want to say something? mean?
I did an ad read before the pod, and I actually read it pretty good. And I'm like, it's because Wiz wasn't sitting next to me, breathing down my neck, waiting for me to fuck up so he could chirp me, and the whole room will laugh at me, like at the live show when you were making fun of me, and everybody was in fucking tears. You're a bully. You're a bully, Whit. You're a bulldog.
Yeah. I should have added some of that bulliness when I played hockey. Fucking out there, scared as shit,
Patterson.
flamingoing everywhere, getting sent to the KHL like a pigeon, 5th overall pick joke. All right, well,
riding your scooter like a little bitch.
So before we get to World Juniors, did you guys know Cam Fowler, the Ducks actually wore a 1,000th game T-shirt?
No shit.
Just said that.
Wow, shit.
I know, sick boys. Thanks for pumping me up. World Juniors guys, Team USA, looking beauty, won their pool. They're on. I think they play Switzerland in the quarterfinals, but Canada. Oh my God, Biz, you lost to Latvia. You lost to Latvia. It was in Canada. What the fuck's going on? Army had a little State of the Union of Canadian hockey. I have something to say about it, but Biz, that's disgusting. It's Latvia.
Yeah, I think Army's basic point was like the pussification of hockey and where Canada's kind of lost its identity. Like, buddy, when I remember when I was playing, like Jordan Tutu was a guy that Canada had in the roster where I bet you the Americans were fucking pooping in their
I was on that team.
You were probably
Were
you shitting your pants before the game started being like, this guy's going to run me through the fucking end wall?
I was going back for a puck. I was
game.
on my scooter with Pedersen. And I was going back for the puck, and it was in Halifax. It was like the whole crowd. It was just like getting ready. And I bailed out and tried to do like the one-handed get it over to your partner, and he hit me through the arm. I'm surprised my elbow didn't snap in half, and the whole place is like, and then he went over and crushed my partner too. I don't see this from Canada now. That's what Army's saying.
I was definitely a little bit more proud in their response in the game against the U.S. I mean, maybe some undisciplined penalties, but definitely brought a lot more fire and a lot more intensity. I think they'd probably been called out of that horrific loss to Latvia on home soil. But like ultimately, I think if there's a lot of these younger Canadian kids who are going to listen to this, skills are very important. But bringing fucking intensity and that fire in your belly to the rink, especially when you're putting on that Team Canada jersey, is the most important thing moving forward. And if you continue the pussification of hockey in Canada, you're going to continue to be overpassed by other nations, even ones with far fewer resources than what we have up north of the border. So, I mean, I would love an opportunity to coach Team Canada next year. Maybe like an Herb Brooks type situation.
Herb.
Is it an Herb Brooks?
Herb.
Oh, I thought it was Herb. Look at Yancey's face.
I'm not. Forget about the name. He thinks he's going to coach the World Junior team.
I got a Wayne Gretzky blazer on right now.
Oh, that's actually true.
What the fuck are you talking about, bro? I could step behind that bench and fire those guys up. I'll just do the lineup reads like I do at all the junior games, like the Oil Kings. I did one lineup read for the Oil Kings, and they won a fucking championship. You're telling me I can't fucking coach junior hockey? Are you fucking mind? I'll just go in there and scream in their faces.
That's the day.
Get it done.
That's when you were with Ain Gretzky, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Ain and Herb, two legends of the game. Biz, one thing I noticed, well, two things. Until the end of the game, like granted, there's a lot of penalty problems. Like, get Gavin McKenna on the ice. This kid is insane.
That's why I should be coaching.
He wasn't even like out there that much, and they had a lot of penalties. But then the other thing I looked at is, and I know there's a lot of like depth, and they have so many good players, and you could play 2 years after you're drafted. But I look at last year's draft, 2024. It goes Celebrini. He ain't playing. He's in the NHL. Beckett Seneke, not on the team. Third overall. He
didn't get invited to even the camp.
Caden Lindstrom, lighting up the WHL, fourth overall, isn't on the team. T. Aginla. He's not on the team. Carter Yakimchuk. He's lighting up Calgary Hitmen in WHL.
Holy fuck.
He's not on the team.
I know what you're saying.
I've never seen, I don't ever remember seeing guys picked in the top 5, top 10 not making their work.
I know what you're getting to.
What am I getting to?
This is an inside job. I think that President Trump has already made it in the 51st state, and he kept these guys off the team. This is a fucking inside job.
If he wanted an inside job, he'd let you coach them. But honestly, I feel like Canada, the way Canada is now is the way US was 10, 12 years ago, where they're trying to pick players like, remember the Olympic year? It was like
the role players,
Ryan Kessler, like a team full of guys like that. And like, you're not going to win like that. Now USA just takes the best players, and Canada's trying to like pick a team that can beat US, but it ain't there, boys. And USA
it ain't there.
Is absolutely rolling, and hopefully it rolls over to the four nations.
So you're contradicting the point of where they needed to bring more skill guys and skill it up against the Americans.
I just feel like Canada back in the day would just bring their best players, and then maybe one or two guys like a Jordan Tutu, and then just figure it out. And those guys, they took such pride. They were like, you know what, I'm a third overall guy, but I'll play on the fourth line this tournament. I don't care. Like, I'll go out there and like Mike Richards playing on their fourth line, like and just figuring out ways to win. So I don't know. I just feel like they're just not I think they're picking teams like the USA used to do, and that didn't do anything for us.
Yeah, they left off Michael Misa, who's leading the entire Central or Canada Hockey League in points, just like they left US used to leave me off when I was leading the college in points. But
it's very similar.
This Seneke is number 3 pick, and I don't know if it was in your Verbeek interview or just around the draft, but that was his thing. He was like he's skilled, but he was sandpaper. Like he's the full player you need. So to leave him off is just ridiculous.
It's an inside job. This is a fucking inside job. I'm going to look into this. I'm going to put my PI hat on and get my buddy Shea Stevens on it.
You think there was ever a chance that Bedard was going to be going? He could have played this year, right?
Maybe they should have.
I think he could have been eligible to play. I think
they could have Fantilli, I think, Bedard, and Celebrini. So you do want to mention like who is missing, right? If it was like you add everyone that's in the NHL, it's a different ballgame. But you dance with who you brought, right? You dance with who brought you.
This happened other years. There's other years where all the 18-year-olds were in the NHL and Canada still whooped everybody. So,
and a man I watched up close and personal in the same World Junior that Jordan Tutu was running around like a straight up caged animal was Alexander Ovechkin. And that's when I first got to witness him. He had a hat trick against Team USA as a 16-year-old or whatever he was. And now he's back, boys. And he's back with a vengeance. He has 2 goals in his first 2 games back. I think they've only played 2. But he hasn't slowed down. First off, he's back way before anyone thought he would be back. And Washington continues to play phenomenal hockey. And Ovi is back on that chase biz. It's still possible he does it this year.
Yeah, he's a freak for coming back that early. I would imagine a little bit of the gas helped him get back on time. What is he, 25 goals away now? Another empty netter in his first game back. This is crazy, boys. I think he's actually going to do it game 82 against Crosby. I think it's going to go down like that. And that's why I said do the Winter Classic next year, because you'll still get a little bit of the build-up, but it'll still be relevant at that time in order to really, really celebrate the most ridiculous achievement that I think that nobody in the hockey world ever expected, at the fact that Wayne Gretzky would be passed for the all-time goal-scoring lead.
It's wild. And you know, we talked a lot about this summer, how much that team switched and changed and what they did to kind of bring in or have a new beginning. Even though they made the playoffs, they got Dubois over there. He's played solid.
Playing great.
How about I cannot believe right now, Chychrun. He's got 11 goals, Biz.
He's always had a ridiculous shot. Like when he was with the Coyotes, he was the bumper on the power play. So he was acting as a forward, and I'm not talking even just a slap shot. Like when he gets it, when he can release it with a snapper, that it was faster than my slap shot, definitely faster than Jan's. I don't even think I ever saw you take a slap shot. So it's fucking impressive the way that he could shoot the pill, and he's very versatile. Was surprised when he came in and started playing with Carlson, given the fact that they both have that kind of offensive aspect to their game, but he's fit in like a glove there. I think you just got to attribute Carberry and how comfortable he's made these new guys feel. And they got the mojo right now. I thought maybe there'd be a little bit of regression after that hot start, especially after losing Ovi, but they've done a great job in sustaining it, and they just have a well-oiled machine that's coached very well. And right now, I believe they're at the top of the division, correct? Right ahead of Carolina?
Jersey, I think, and they have a lot
Jersey.
more. They have a lot more games played, but biggest thing in Washington, even though they've split the goaltending duties completely with Lindgren and Thompson, Logan Thompson's 15-2-2 with a 2.3 goals against and a .918 save percentage. We were in Florida for the All-Star game a few years back. We actually did an interview with him, didn't even release it. Probably wasn't in the right headspace at the time. So I'm so happy for him to see what he's done. He's been able to get like a fresh start. Things didn't go in Vegas like he saw. And all of a sudden, like you're seeing why there was so much talk about him and discussion about him as he came into the NHL, because he's been so good. They also have Lindgren, but it's amazing to see what that team's done. And Matt, is it Roy or Wah? How do you pronounce it?
Roy played at Michigan Tech. I think he's a Michigan Tech kid.
Nice defensive defenseman.
Yep.
Just Washington it's awesome to see. It's great to see what they've done, and they're buzzing around. Another story about a superstar in the NHL, as we discussed Ovechkin there, is the Nate Dogg. Chucking Nux, dude. I guess Barrett Hayton kind of bumped into him in the corner, and all of a sudden, dude, they're squaring off, and the Dog's throwing hammers. Biz, you got to love that. You got to love seeing that right there.
The dog is barking, boys. The dog is barking. You don't think he wants another cup? You think Sid's seeing that, saying, I don't want to go over to Colorado? Come on, man. It's time for another run.
That's the breakdown, folks, of the dog. They're sitting third in the Central right now, just 4 points behind the Wild. I think that the Avs reshaping and bringing in new goalies throughout the course of this season was incredible. And then they went one step further. They signed Mackenzie Blackwood to a 5-year contract extension, 5.25 AAV. So that's nice. He's in the final year of a 2-year deal where he's only making 2.35, but they're looking good. That's Merle's other team, the Avs.
Yeah, they're 9-2 the last 11, and I think 8 of the wins are by the puck line. They're just destroying everybody. They got when that Nichushkin came back, it really solidified that team. They're awesome to watch too.
Yeah, I'm looking right now at the stats. I just want to quickly see what Nichushkin has done already. 21 games, 17 points, 11 goals. So Lehkonen came back. He was injured. He's just under a point per game. Middlestats had a quietly very good year. And then the big three. It's all about the big three. The Rantanen contract's going to become an enormous storyline. I would assume they're trying to sign him right now before he goes UFA. If he gets to the market, you'd think he'd be leaving. Because why not sign before then? Unless he just
I think he's automatic 13.5 at this point.
I think he's going to want what did Leon? What was his hit? 14-1?
I don't think he deserves what Leon got.
Oh,
he's a horse,
buddy,
man.
They're almost
buddy,
like
I disagree, Biz. I disagree, dude. I disagree.
I mean, just
Rantanen's last 4 years, including this year. 36 goals, 92 points, 55 goals, 105 points, 42 goals, 104 points. Right now, he's got 21 goals and 54 points in 38 games. Buddy.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so now read Leon's stats.
Okay, hold on.
I mean, he's in the 120, 130 point range. So, I mean, if you're saying that
he's had 128 once. The year that, he had 128 points 2 years ago. Last year, he had 106. I think the goals are dead even over the last 3 years. Yes, I see. I see what you're saying, that a little less, but Leon signed with the hometown team. If he goes to UFA and then everyone's bidding, he's getting 14.
No doubt. I meant with Colorado. I would say that. Yeah.
Okay. So
I don't know.
Colorado's
Pierre LeBrun reported that on Insider Trading too, that if he hits UFA, he wants 14.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay, so maybe right now Colorado's offering 13 a year, 8 years, and he's like, I'm missing $8 million right there, boys.
I know a team who would give it to him. The New York Rangers.
Whoa. And Panarin only has another year too. Wow.
And they would front load that with bonuses out the yin yang.
In fairness to what you're saying, that he's not Leon, Biz, even though I argued against you, I do feel like Leon has McDavid and Rantanen has McKinnon. I would rather Leon without McDavid than Rantanen without
That's
McKinnon.
kind of what I'm saying. And he plays center.
Yeah.
So
I can't picture Rantanen like on his own with that New York team doing the same stuff. No way.
Yeah. Interesting story, though, to see how that ends up playing out and if they get him signed before July 1st. On to college hockey news. A shocker to the college hockey world that ACHA club team UNLV beat the national champs Denver in Denver. What a wild thing to see. And I imagine David Carl, who's on his way to another World Junior Gold after last year, he's looking at this. What the fuck is going on while I'm not gone? And they're missing Zeke Bouyem as well. But I ran into a former Denver player, and it was kind of like, I mentioned, you don't got your head coach, you don't got one of the best players in college hockey, and he's like, who fucking cares? It's a club team. And at one point, UNLV was winning 5-1 in that game, right?
Yes.
Holy shit. Now,
Yes.
I love this story because this is something where if you're the UNLV athletic director, you're like, oh my God, like, we got something brewing here. I believe they get 3,000 to 4,000 a game. G, are they building arena too?
Oh, they have a sick arena. They have a smoke machine. They have their own locker room. And Greg Power, actually, who helped Arizona State, he's the Arizona State head coach. He was the one that kind of pushed them from club hockey to Division I. He actually sent me a text and was like, this win is the most monumental win in college hockey in the past 20 years, because that's the win that the administration is going to say, we can't deny this anymore. We have to give you a Division I program.
That's fucking awesome. That is
Crazy.
unbelievable.
That would be huge. And Vegas is just growing with the hockey. You got the AHL team there too. That would be sick if they went up.
Now that you could play major junior and then go to college, I'm hoping in the next 15 years there's 10 new D1 programs. And I think that's a lot, right? That's a lot to consider that quick. But this could be something that UNLV is like, all right, we're all in. Fuck it. We're all in. Arizona State can do it. We can do it. And then we get the SEC teams, and then we're laughing. And then there's some more scholarships at D1 hockey level for American kids who are now going to get hosed by all these Canadians coming after they play major junior. Well, if you're into college hockey, or even if you're not, G has brought Chiclets U to our world, our lives, and just last week, his one at Michigan State dropped with star goalie for the U.S. World Junior team, Trey Augustine. Go check that out whenever you can.
Couple clicks to him and Fishy, man. This series has been on fire.
Fish crushes it.
Fishy does so much behind the scenes for us guys. We have such an awesome team. I fucking love our squad.
Got his Michigan State hoodie on right now.
Oh, look at that.
Yep. The Spartans. The Sparty, I think number one team.
That was my favorite part of the trip, is getting to know Fish a little bit more. He's a beauty.
He's a wild card, eh?
You love the whack pack he has.
Oh, yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
I love memes just wearing a wife beater no matter where we go, no matter sun, rain, snow, wind. He's got a wife beater on.
Winter Classic. He wears
just
a wife
I was
beater.
talking to Wayner in the lobby the other day. I'm like, imagine, like, he's telling me he's talking to Wayne Gretzky, and I'm like, maybe he wasn't dressed like this, but yeah, he was.
What about the
beater
waitress
on
from
mullet.
Edmonton who came over and he talked, Keith? Weren't you over there when like a waitress is like, what? Where are you from?
Yeah. He was like, where are you
Planet
from?
Sultan.
He was like, Canada. And then she was like, yeah, me too, but I don't talk like that.
Last thing here, Patrick Waugh, he took the mic and apologized to Islanders fans at an open practice on Friday. He said, we're not happy with the way we've been playing in front of you guys. No shit.
Did you see what he did the other night?
No.
They were shorthanded, defensive zone draw, and he pulled the goalie against the Leafs. It took the Leafs like 8 seconds to score and end the game 3-1.
How happy were those guys on the Leafs, dude?
Oh, God.
They all like passed it around to each other, made sure everybody got their cookie.
Yeah, like you get a point. You get, instead of doing a face-off play, it's like you get the second assist, you get the first, and I'll get the goal. Thank you. See you later, Islanders. Islanders, scary, scary time to be an Islanders fan. Last thing I had here, Biz, you really cracked me up. I wanted to get this on record. So we were discussing the fact that Biz drives a shit box. I mean, I'm talking like you get in the car and you're like, oh, a homeless person was given a car and they live in this car. It's pretty cool. And you brought up, yeah, I know, I'm going to get a truck. And then you mentioned, I got to talk to grandma, though, before I get the truck. And we were like, what? And you're like, yeah, well, I got to get the code from grandpa because my grandpa worked at Ford for 45 years. So I get a Biz promo code now. So what is going on with the truck situation?
Well, I'm going to get a King Ranch, F250 or F350 diesel King Ranch. That's my dream car. And I got the lot up in Jackson, Wyoming, so it'll be a fun truck to bring up there. And when you get the diesel engines, I think these things can run for like 400,000 miles. And I think that I've earned the right to get myself a new truck. And I've had 2 F-150s before. Like, you know how you see sometimes those stickers of like the little kid pissing on like a Chevy logo or a Ford logo? The fact that one pissing on a Ford logo exists is an absolute debacle, because Ford trucks are the best trucks in the world. I think, Jans, you have an F-150 too. Like, there is no better reliable car or vehicle made, excuse me. So considering my grandpa worked for Ford for so long, you just are automatically in the system for like a friends and family discount where you provide this code. You like call in, you tell them who worked for them, and they give you a code, and then you supply it at the dealership, and then you get a certain price knocked off the vehicle. So like, it's not a Biz promo code. It's just like for anybody who works for Ford.
Okay.
How much is the discount?
I don't.
Floor mats. They give you floor mats.
Like if it's like $100 off and you're wasting your grandmother's time, like just go buy the fucking truck.
You get free oil changes and like upgraded floor mats. That's kind of how. That's what the. No, but I think it's a decent amount. But I remember the last time I bought one, I think like with like the full package I ended up getting, it was like a $46,000 or $48,000 truck. So I don't know, I might have saved like $7-8 grand. Whereas I don't know what it is now, but why not use it?
Okay, very true.
If you had that option, would you call it in, Merle?
You know I am.
Merles
Yeah,
would do that
absolutely.
for a
But I
sub,
didn't know if
dude.
it-
He'd be like,
if
my
it was
dad
like
worked at
$100
Jimmy
like
John's
a
for
little
43
nothing.
years. Yeah. Okay, here are your Doritos for free, sir.
Then I can take that money off my gambling debt. You know, it just justify it that way.
I'd suck a dick for an F-150 at this point. That's how reliable those cars are.
Yeah.
And with that, folks, Happy New Year. Honestly, everyone out there listening, whether you had a great 2024 or a tough 2024, it's on to a new year, new beginnings. I hope everyone had an amazing holiday. As always, none of this happens without you guys listening. The best fan base. We are the luckiest people in the world to have the best job ever, and we cannot thank you enough. And I hope all you guys have an amazing year. Started off right with family and friends and a lot of fun times over New Year's, and then just rip it up, keep crushing it. And thank you so much for listening. So Happy New Year to you guys. Love all you guys, and hell of a week at Chicago.
Jans has one last thing.
I know obviously we're biased with hockey guys, but did you guys see that Anaheim wore the t-shirts for Cam Fowler?
That's sick.
That was pretty
Suck
cool.
on that, Whit. Hey, Wizzy
Happy
boy.
New Year's, guys. I'm driving up to Sunday River now. Leave me alone. Love you. Bye.